Virginia is a major understatement, as well as for the Hurricanes.
Todd Severs back to kick for Miami. Terry Porter and Antonio Brown back to receive for West Virginia. Eddie, Miami and West Virginia both coming off bye weeks. The Mountaineers took care of Temple a couple of weeks ago, while Miami lost, as we mentioned, a very tough fight with Bobby Bowden and Florida State at the Orange Bowl. Underway in Morgantown. At the 11, Terry Porter. Porter at the 25-30, and on second and third effort is stacked up and knocked down at the 28-yard line. 18-yard return. We look at that West Virginia offense. The quarterback is Mark Bolger, has thrown for 12 touchdowns, only a junior from Pittsburgh.
Mark Bolger, a lot of people wondered about him a few years ago. He's come in and done nothing but good things for West Virginia. Has a great grasp of this Mountaineer offense. Very efficient quarterback.
Bolger averaging 277 yards and 30 attempts a ball game. They open up with a 3-wide receiver set. Zeraway, flag thrown in on the pile at the 31-yard line. So the first carry for Zeraway in what seems to be nearly a month.
Holding against West Virginia, where that flag is thrown, that's what you would expect. Everyone talks about the great skill players Don Nehlen has at West Virginia, but they also have a very, very good offensive line. Returned 4 of 5 starters on that Mountaineer offense, so we have a Mountaineer down. It's Brock Holland, number 69, the right tackle, the only new starter on that offensive line. Little simple dive play right up the middle. Probably called the hold on number 67, Eric DeGros, the center, but there you see Holland getting tangled up. But kind of a ticky-tack call to start the game. You've got to let them play.
Holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Jack Kramer, the referee today. Take a look at the West Virginia offense. Behind Bolger, Zeraway, 3 wide receiver set, Saunders, Foreman, and Ivy. And up front, Page, Dunnigan, DeGros, Pecanis, and Holland, who's still down.
Solomon Page, the left tackle, one of the most gifted athletes on the offensive line in the Big East. Big guy with big hands. Watch them to run behind Page all day long on that left side.
As they look at Brock Holland, will set that Miami defense. And up front, it is Hips, Sweeney, Lewis, and the sack man, Derek Ham. Ham with 5 quarterback sacks. Dan Morgan and Nate Webster, 2 of the best linebackers in the Big East. The DBs, Fitzgerald, Blades, Reed, and Rumpf. Eddie, 3 freshmen and a sophomore in that Hurricane defensive backfield.
And Rumpf, a true freshman, will be tested all day. Here we see Holland walking off of the field. He was the new starter. Mark Bolger, though, Craig, when we sat down with Dan Simrell, the offensive coordinator, I loved his quote about Bolger. He said he's tough where it counts, between the ears. Bolger has a great grasp of this offense, can change the play at the line of scrimmage anytime he wants, as long as he's aware of the situation on the field.
Yeah, he is a studier of game film. They have to throw him out of the complex night after night. And I tell you, the study pays off. 6 straight games with at least 2 touchdown throws.
And he loves to spread the ball around to all those weapons.
First down at 22 from the 17-yard line. Another flag down. Zeraway again squeezes through traffic and loses his footing at the 32-yard line. How dangerous is Amos Zeraway? You just saw the speed and how quickly he can attack a hole. Delvin Brown made the tackle.
The officials getting involved early.
Offside. Defense. Penalties decline. Second down.
Let's take a look at the Sun America Virtual Playbook, a play that West Virginia just ran at that Miami defense. Because of the abilities of Amos Zaraway, they're going to run a lot of toss zone today. Bring the wide receiver in motion to help Solomon Page block on the outside linebacker, and then it's just up to Zaraway. Use his vision, find a seam. That time good for a 15-yard gain. West Virginia will use that play time and time again today.
16-yard pickup by Zaraway. Bulger has the ability to change the plays up at the line. Again to Zaraway, first down, West Virginia at the 41. Nate Webster, their fine middle linebacker, made the tackle, a sophomore from Miami. And Zaraway right now having his way with that Miami front.
Real simple play, Craig. It's just up to the offensive line. You've got DeGros, you've got Dunnigan in the middle, knocking around Damian Lewis. Nate Webster, the linebacker, gets popped in the mouth. This offensive line has come to play. Very apparent that they're just going to pin their ears back, come off the ball, and let Zaraway find the seams.
Zaraway packed at 5'10", 200-pound junior. 4 wide receivers, 1st and 10 from the 41. Bulger, a quick hit to the sideline, and the catch is pulled down by Corey Ivy. He's a junior from Boca Raton, labeled the fastest of those wideouts.
David Saunders, the wide receiver, they're just going to run a little flanker screen. That may go down actually as a running play, Craig, even though it's thrown way out there. The ball thrown behind David Saunders, maybe behind the quarterback Bulger, but Saunders missed 1997 with a ACL injury. He's back. He leads almost every category here at West Virginia in receiving. Imagine the excitement Bulger had coming in the season knowing he'd have that weapon back.
Well, we'll see Ivy today, 8-6. Zaraway breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles to the 40-yard line. Al Blades, who makes the start today at the free safety spot, made the tackle. Of course, the Blades name, Eddie, very well known around Miami. His brother Brian and Benny played.
West Virginia very early on establishing a line of scrimmage. Although Zaraway's made a nice couple of moves, give the credit to the offensive line, getting a lot of push in the middle. The strength of this West Virginia offensive line is in the middle with DeGros, Dunnigan, and McCanis at the guards and center.
How about Zaraway? 3 carries for 29 yards. That's his 4th, maybe a yard up to the 39. Nate Webster filled the hole in a hurry, number 52. For a college football today update, let's send you back to New York and Tim Brando. Timmy?
Craig, we're going to take you to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Game-winning opportunity for Seth Hansen, but Matt Mumme gets a bad snap from center. Georgia holds on to win this game after trailing 10-0 at one point. 28-26. Remember, it'll be Georgia against Florida in the cocktail party from Jacksonville next week on CBS.
Boy, Kentucky almost pulled off another one. They beat LSU last week. Al Mumme really has that program headed in the right direction, although disappointed today.
Saunders, the motion man. 3rd down and 4, across the middle, connected up to the 31. Boy, nice throw by Bulger. Marquise Fitzgerald, the redshirt freshman, left corner, made the tackle. 8-yard pickup.
You hear about progressions for a quarterback. That just means he has to look to his first target, to his second target, and then back to his third, which is Corey Ivy. A good pocket by the offensive line allows Bulger to look down the field at all those different options he has. Corey Ivy kind of the forgotten receiver, but all of the receivers at West Virginia will tell you that Ivy is the fastest of the bunch.
Ivy, Antonio Brown, Pat Green, there's a host of them, and again, out to the far side is Saunders. He's a Biletnikoff Award nominee, 26 straight games with a reception. 26 straight. Let's go downstairs and get an update on the injured Brock Holland. Doc?
Craig, you know, he's heading into the locker room, the right tackle, Brock Holland is. The injury is his left ankle. They taped it up. The doctor told me he's hurt it before, but the chances of returning are, well, 50-50 or so, but he's just heading into the locker room right now. Back to you.
Tanner Russell, number 79, is in his place at the right tackle spot.
8th play of this drive, and for the first time, Miami figures out how to stop Zaraway. Boy, Webster was the first to hit him in the pads. Well, you could echo all the way up here.
Boy, you want the way you stop a great offense like West Virginia is with players like Nate Webster. You know, he's kind of overshadowed by Dan Morgan, the great sophomore linebacker. But Webster, the one thing Miami linebackers have always been able to do, and this group does as well as any of the old Miami teams, is run. Nate Webster, very fast, very explosive, got up through the line of scrimmage at West Virginia and made a nice top stop on Zaraway.
Hurricanes show blitz on 3rd down 4. Saunders, the motion man. Bulger got some backside help. Scoots it over the middle. Saunders makes a catch and another first down at the 19-yard line of Miami. Edward Reed and Webster teamed up to make the tackle, but great patience by the junior quarterback, Mark Bulger.
You know, Mark Bulger came in as a starter last year for West Virginia. No one knew who he was, and so he got a little bad press. And even this year, everyone knew they had the weapons, but it's amazing. He just sits in that pocket, kind of dancing the feet around, but he never panics. He knows where everybody is on the field. That's when a quarterback really turns a corner in his progress as a starter, is knowing where everyone is on the field. He didn't panic, and he found Saunders underneath.
1st and 10, Mountaineers, 10th play of the drive. Bulger, wide open. Foreman, sideline, and fights his way past the 10 down to the 8-yard line. Mike Rump made the tackle.
West Virginia very, very efficient in the red zone. 16 touchdowns on 20 possessions. 80% scoring touchdowns. And the only time they didn't score, they had a missed field goal one time inside the 20. But West Virginia, they have so many weapons on the outside. They can start running some crossing routes. Very dangerous once they get inside the 20.
On the other side of the ball, Ed, you got to look at what Miami's defense in the red zone. Opponents have crossed the 20 15 times. They've let 5 touchdowns and 5 field goals come across.
Pretty good battle right here, though.
3 wide receivers. 1st and goal from the 9. Zaraway steps on a dime and not much. Al Blades,
number 20, Amos Zaraway carry.
the free safety, the first to make
Stopped
contact.
by number 7, Al Blades.
Quincy Hips, number 90, the sophomore defensive end, is really doing a nice job of getting penetration, although he didn't make the tackle. He's made Zaraway a couple of times kind of stutter step before he can get to the line of scrimmage. As explosive as Zaraway is, that's what the defensive line of Miami is going to have to do all day. Get penetration, so he has to make a move before he gets to the line of scrimmage.
West Virginia, this drive, impressive. 62 yards, 11 plays, and they are chewing some clock. Saunders throws some leads away from Zaraway, makes the cut. Up to the 5-yard line, a host of white jerseys knocked him down. Edward Reed led the way, the strong safety.
Stop by Edward Reed.
Watch the left side of the offensive line. They're just coming straight off the ball and getting really, really good push at the point of attack. That's Damian Lewis right there. He's getting reach blocked by Dunnigan to grow the center. And Zaraway is getting to the 2nd level. In other words, he's getting to the linebackers before he has to make a move. Remember the play before when Hips got penetration. If the offensive line could continue to get that kind of push, it's going to be a huge day for Zaraway.
And a huge 3rd down. At the 5, goal to goal. Bulger, touchdown. He found Saunders. With his 4th touchdown reception of the year.
With a quarterback like Mark Bulger, you're allowed to do so many different things. Here, little play action pass, rolls out. He's looking for somebody running parallel to the line of scrimmage, able to throw back across his body. Saunders takes a shot in the mouth, but Saunders did a great job of finding the open seam in the back of that end zone. He was not open early in that route.
Jay Taylor will try the point after. Has not missed a point after in his career. 93 of 93. West Virginia and Saunders on top. Saunders looks like a war wound after catching that 5-yard touchdown. 13 plays at 71 yards, nearly 7 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, it's one way to slow down a great offense is keep them off the field.
Ulliger with the kick. James Jackson tries to take it up the far sideline. Good special teams coverage by West Virginia to the 25. West Virginia, opening drive, marched it right down the field, and boy, Don Nehlen's got to be happy. We'll take a break. Mountaineers lead by 7. 60,000 strong here in Morgantown. West Virginia marches down and scores on their first drive. Miami now on offense. Scott Covington, fifth-year senior, has thrown for 12 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Could there be trickery? Remember, on that opening kickoff at Florida State, we saw an onside kick. Butch Davis likes to throw a few tricks at opponents, but looked like just simple pitch play outside. For Miami, Covington has plenty of targets. Edgerrin James is the tailback. Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne are your wide receivers. Up front, it's Hall, Mercier, Wise, Neely, and Gonzalez, a redshirt freshman.
Gonzalez recovered from a sprained ankle he suffered against Florida State. That is the thinnest position for the Hurricanes, is the offensive line.
From the eye, James looking for blocks. Oh, he got his head turned around, and a flag comes down at the 38-yard line. And the helmet, luckily, he looks a little dazed coming up.
God, it messed his hair up when they... Oh, no, that's just the way his hair is, I guess. Miami not going to panic. They have to stick to their game plan. They really like to establish the run. They have Edgerrin James backed up by James Jackson, backed up by Najee Davenport.
Personal foul, face mask against the defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Real nice job of Edgerrin James. You got all the big guys. Nick Williams out there in front. Mercier out in front as well. Nice job of waiting for the blocks to develop. Gets down the field. Wow. That's how somebody gets hurt. Defenders, not trying to hurt somebody, just reaching out, trying to grab cloth. But, boy, that really spun the head around of James. Good to see that he was not injured on the play.
First and 10, 45-yard line of West Virginia. James tries to shake off the face mask, turns the corner, down the sideline, and steps out near the first down marker at the 34-yard line. Let's set up that West Virginia defense. And it is led by John Thunder Thornton, 300-pound defensive tackles. The linebackers, Stills and Green, will cover the outside. We'll check out the defensive backs, Fisher, Porter, Tompkins, and Davis.
Jerry Porter, a former wide receiver, switched to free safety this year, just starting to get comfortable. Only his 6th game at that position while at West Virginia.
Already 3 carries for Edgerrin James for 26 yards. Covington wants to throw, swings it out of the backfield. James stumbles on his feet, breaks a tackle down to the 11-yard line. Oh, what a run. Edgerrin James, 6'1", 220-pound junior.
Watch the right guard, Damon Neely. He's going to drop underneath and get out in a little screen play set up. See Neely kind of biding his time. Great job of running with Barrett Green. Barrett Green had one-on-one coverage against Edgerrin James as an offensive lineman. You have to watch for that man coverage. The minute you see Barrett Green going out in coverage, you got to go get in his face. Nice job, Damon Neely.
Boy, so far it's been Edgerrin James' drive, but that time, Gary Stills, who's coming off a cracked kneecap. He played the first game against Ohio State. He has a heavy brace on that knee, but he is so quick, Eddie, on the first and second steps that he comes in and stops James.
Not quite as quick as he usually is, though. That brace, he's got a big pad on the left knee. He cracked the kneecap last year against Notre Dame, cracked the same kneecap this year against Ohio State. Not quite as quick as he usually is.
A loss of 1, second down and 11. Reggie Wayne in motion. Covington going to the end zone, out of the backfield. The catch by Nick Williams, the fullback.
Boy, Nick Williams is one heck of a weapon for Miami. Doesn't get a lot of touches. Came in the game with only 3 receptions. Has really good hands out of the backfield. 265 pounds, a punishing blocker. Just a real nice weapon for Miami. A good changeup to use Williams out of the backfield.
So far it's interesting. Covington's going to James on the pass. He's only made 6 catches. And now the 4th for Nick Williams on the season.
Possibly Miami seeing that the West Virginia linebackers are too in tune to rushing and not covering the backside of the backfield.
3rd down, 5. Covington. Incomplete. Andre King, a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, turned around, couldn't quite come back.
Andre King, another one of those baseball players, played 5 years in the Braves organization, but Covington has been late on his last 2 throws. The Nick Williams throw, he threw it on the target, but it was just a tad late. But Andre King came out of his break. Covington should have hit him right away, and King may have had a chance to fight into the end zone.
Andy Crossland, 2 of 4 on the year, his longest from 41. This will be a 23-yard kick for the left footer. And it's up and good. Crossland from 23. So West Virginia marches down, scores a touchdown. Back comes Miami with a 3-point field goal. .6:14 remaining first quarter. West Virginia leads Miami by a score of 7-3.
A huge first drive for Miami coming into a hostile place like Morgantown, West Virginia. Miami had only scored 1 time on their opening possession. Now they've made it twice on the season, but they had to go down and get something on the board, take away a little of the momentum that West Virginia got in that opening drive, but a huge drive for Miami to open the game.
And you really don't see any lack of crispness, so to say. Both teams coming off those bye weeks.
Yeah, sometimes there may be a little sluggishness after a bye week. Guys have had 2 weeks to kind of sit around and maybe get complacent, but both teams, the pads are cracking. Everybody's in. Of course, beautiful day always helps too.
Maybe it's tougher on the coaches and the players. Short kick taken at the 6. Porter. Oh, he is upended at the 22. Well, David Saunders was knocked around after catching that touchdown. Let's go downstairs and get an update with the doc.
He was knocked around by Fitzgerald, the Miami defensive back who came in late. Saunders dropped the ball, but of course he had possession. He actually cut his chin on the play. They put a butterfly Band-Aid on it, taped it up, and he'll be back in the game. He's fine. Craig?
Late shot by Marquise Fitzgerald. Maybe should have been called, but there's a look at the bandage on the chin. Another thing, David Saunders wears braces. So he has to have a special mouthpiece for both top and bottom. I hope he had it in during that play, Craig, because those teeth would have been stuck into his lips.
We had a chance to talk to David Saunders, fine young man, and what a set of mitts. Second offensive possession. Zeraway breaks it up for a couple of 3 to the 25. Boy, explosive. That's an understatement. We'll get complete college football coverage at CBS Sportsline and log on Tuesday morning. Mark it down 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can chat with College Football Today analyst and former Notre Dame head coach, the coach, Lou Holtz, at cbs.sportsline.com.
Mark Bulger, the junior quarterback, very efficient, 100%. I'd say that's perfect. But he is the cog to this whole system. It doesn't matter how great your receivers are and running back are. If you don't have a guy who can get it to him, it doesn't matter.
Zeraway. Good read by Miami's front. A loss of 2 back to the 23-yard line. Nate Webster. Boy, I tell you, he can cover up. He can run sideline. He can plug the hole.
Good job by Dan Morgan, the other outside sophomore linebacker, like Nate Webster. Sealed it in so Webster could come from his inside linebacker spot and make the tackle. Morgan came in as a fullback to Miami, rushed for over 2,200 yards his senior year in high school. Came thinking he was going to be a fullback. They switched him to defense because of numbers, and they'll never send him back to offense.
3rd down and 8 from the shotgun. 4 wide receivers set. Bulger connects. Saunders breaks a tackle. First down, West Virginia at the 37. Delvin Brown, the free safety, along with Danny Morgan, made the tackle. And let's check in downstairs. John Dockery.
Craig and Ed Cunningham, it was interesting to watch Butch Davis before the Miami defense came back on the field. He went over and had a little chat with them, animated, and said to them, look, you guys are getting some penetration, that's fine, but you're not getting enough pursuit, you're not lively enough. Now get to the ball or else they're going to blow us out of town. Let's see how the Miami defense reacts.
Butch Davis is absolutely right. You have to get inside-out pursuit or that penetration means nothing.
Play fake to Zeraway, home run ball down the field and just overthrown by Bulger. The intended receiver was Antonio Brown. Don Nealon told us yesterday this guy's too good to keep him off the field. Only a freshman from Miami.
A true freshman from Miami, so kind of a big deal for him to get the play. But this Miami defense, they really are between a rock and a hard place. When we talked to Bill Miller, the defensive coordinator of Miami, and also Butch Davis, a former defense coordinator in the NFL, as well as at Miami, said the toughest part is you have to make a choice. Do we defend the run or do we defend the pass? And right now, West Virginia's toying with it.
Second down 10 from the eye. Bulger 7 of 8. His first incompletion, and now Bulger signals for a timeout. And we'll take a break. 4:10 to go, first quarter. It is homecoming in Morgantown. Boy, it's amazing. Late October day, Ed. Shirt sleeves.
Oh, we got awfully lucky. I think John Dockery put it best. This day is a gift to us all.
Quick slant to the flat. Out of bounds goes Saunders. That's the favorite throw by Bulger.
You know, in recent years, West Virginia started out gangbusters, and then they've kind of slid home towards the end of the season. 1998, what's going to happen? You know, this is a true test today against Miami. Then they have to go to Virginia Tech. Then they have to play Syracuse at home. This will definitely, the next 3 games will tell, will they have another meltdown this year?
You know, it's interesting. All the coaches we've talked to, offensive, defensive coordinators, Coach Don Nealon, all say, we don't know how good we are.
This is the best defense West Virginia's faced since the opening game against Ohio State.
3rd and 8 from the shotgun. Bulger across the middle. Great pass. And it's completed. This time it's Corey Ivy. I got him right this time. Ivy wears number 8. He is the fastest of those wideouts, and what a great slant pass.
If Miami wants to slow down this West Virginia offense, they're going to have to start getting some pressure on Mark Bulger. There's a lot of time in the pocket. He's able to set his feet, throws it a little behind Ivy, but West Virginia's just layering the field behind that great protection of the offensive line. Ivy, kind of the forgotten guy, but like we said earlier, he is the fastest receiver. Sometimes they'll use him as a decoy down the field.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And now Bulger didn't like the defensive set of Miami, and boy, you got to burn 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
Yeah, can't get rid of those this soon.
Well, next Saturday on NASDAQ College Football, Quincy Carter and two-way star Champ Bailey lead 11th-ranked Georgia against Doug Johnson and the 5th-ranked Florida Gators. A classic SEC showdown. Check it out next Saturday on CBS.
You know, Craig, we've got the week off, and that's the largest cocktail party in the world. I don't see any reason. Halloween weekend, Jacksonville, Florida.
Just make the trip.
Just go straight from here. Look at it next week. The SEC East standings. Tennessee has a stranglehold on the conference. Florida, though, sitting there nipping at their heels, and Georgia is still in the race. So it'll be a big game to jockey for some position down the field. The SEC, of course, was rocked with news last night that Terry Bowden stepped down at Auburn. Auburn in the SEC West, kind of shocking. And, you know, Craig James, in the pregame show, I agreed with him. He said it was an emotional decision by Terry Bowden that should have waited, if not for the end of season, at least until Sunday. And I think Craig made a great point that Terry Bowden maybe got caught up in the emotion of the deal and quit yesterday at Auburn.
Great point. I thought Craig James made another interesting observation. You know, he talked about the Auburn family. He left behind a lot of players, and of course those he recruited puts that team in a tough situation. 1st and 10, ball on the 44-yard line. Saraway leans across the 45 up to the 44. Derek Am made the tackle.
You start to see the Miami defense, a lot of white shirts starting to get around the football. You have to gang tackle a guy like Saraway. He's not a big guy at 5'10", just over 200 pounds, but he's extremely strong. He bench presses over 450 pounds. You have to get guys around him, so when he goes for those little cutbacks, somebody's standing there waiting for him. Miami's starting to do that on defense.
You know, also, West Virginia can use him as a decoy. Miami has to play him square up. Bulger, quick drop, quick throw, connects. Well, those quick slant routes have been open all day. Sean Foreman pulls down the football. Nate Webster, along with Nate Brooks, made the stop.
Miami has always been, under Butch Davis, a zone-first type of defense. They're going to try to get pressure up the middle with their 4 defensive linemen. Not a whole lot of blitzes from Miami. Bulger takes a late shot. He's got to throw the flag. Ball's gone, 2 steps. flag has to come out. These officials missed a late hit on the touchdown to Saunders in the end zone, and I believe they missed it there as the hit was late on Mark Bolger.
Third down and 2. West Virginia 5 for 5 on third downs, but not this time.
Oh, I don't think there's any real question what Don Whelan is going to do here. He sends in Becht. He sends in the fullback, number 49, Anthony Green. They will bring in the heavy people for a 4th and short shot. Get a look at Zaraway's hair when we met with him the other day. Had a huge, out-of-control hair. There he is cutting back. Good job by Nate Webster. Able to take on the block and see the back and come back and make the tackle. And here they go for it on 4th down like we suspected.
West Virginia 6-9 on 4th downs this season. From the eyes, Zaraway made a move. I don't see a flag.
There is not a flag on the play. Zaraway actually went in motion. He threw his hands up because he knew he made a mistake. But as long as Zaraway runs parallel to the line of scrimmage, does not make a move towards the line of scrimmage, Zaraway gets off early on the screen. He starts running in that direction. But look how he is running parallel to the line of scrimmage. Totally legal. They had set up the fullback dive to Anthony Green. That is not a penalty by West Virginia. Zaraway, just like he's in motion, even though he was a little early.
Well, maybe the first sign of rust for Zaraway, who had the deep thigh bruise 3 weeks ago and really hasn't practiced for nearly 3 weeks.
You know, thigh bruise is a very weird injury as we look at the measurement. Half a football for the first down. But a thigh bruise, very strange injury. It doesn't hurt that bad after it happens, but your leg gives out on you. You go to take a step, it actually gives out on you. I had one my second year in the NFL. A back hit me right in the thigh. It took me a week before I could really walk again, and that was the problem. Could have played against Temple if he had to. Decided to rest him knowing that they had the bye week to get ready for Miami. But you're right. He hasn't had a lot of practice time. But that time, you just got to remember the count. You don't need to practice a lot to remember the count.
Well, he threw his hands up, held onto his helmet. 1st and 10, 34-yard line. Bolger on the rollout, feels pressure. Well, what a nice throw. You know what? He put it right where it had to be, down low. Sean Foreman dug it out of the turf, but a flag is down. Back inside the 40-yard line, Nate Webster was bringing the heat on Bolger.
Boy, Craig, you are absolutely right. Bolger, the one thing he is very accurate.
Roughing the passer against the defense. Half the distance, tack down at the end of the run. First down.
Such a big call because you heard the official say tacked on at the end of the run, a completed pass. Bolger on a big rollout, breaks contain, and makeup call. That's all you can call that. Nate Webster didn't even barely touch him. But you got to figure that Bolger went back to the official on the play before and said, how did you not call me? Miami struggles with penalties. They have 17 more than second place Syracuse. But that, to me, Craig, was really a makeup call on Nate Webster.
I won't argue that. But Butch Davis has to be very upset that the penalties keep coming, averaging nearly 12 flags, Eddie, and 104 yards a game. Corner route, up and in. Touchdown. Foreman. Bolger has been impressive. Put that ball right up top. Foreman climbed the ladder and hauls down his 5th touchdown of the year. Chip shot by Taylor. And Jay Taylor now 94 of 94 in his career. West Virginia 14-3. West Virginia's offense clicking here in the early going. 14-3 over Miami. 12 plays, 78 yards. They have dominated the first 15 minutes. Kick goes out of bounds.
Take a look at the last touchdown. Bolger to Foreman. Mark Bulger will pick you apart if given the time. Just a quick 3-step drop, little fade pass, get a lot of air underneath of it, so your big wide receiver, Sean Foreman, 6'2", goes up over Nate Brooks. Nate Brooks goes 5'10", never got turned around. This is a fade route from the word go. Bulger comes back, puts nice air under the ball, great concentration. Maybe even could have got Brooks for the interference, but a perfectly thrown fade pattern by Mark Bulger, and this is his 7th straight game with at least 2 touchdowns.
Boy, impressive. 12 of 13, 116 yards. Miami on the reverse. Coming around the corner, Santana Moss. He's a game breaker and steps out of bounds at the 34. Just flat out speed by Santana Moss.
Santana Moss was 2nd in the Big East Conference last year in the indoor 55 meters. Has great speed, gets around the corner. He's just going to step out right there, or he is gone. The West Virginia defense was fooled. They get the little toss fake to Edgerrin James, hands off to Moss, who almost loses the handle. Good job by the offensive line. Richard Mercier got out there in front of the reverse, got some nice blocks downfield. If Moss doesn't go out of bounds, though, that's 7 for Miami.
Covington looks left, throws to the far side. Andre King breaks a tackle, still on his feet, inside the 30, down to the 27. Flags are down.
We got a roughing the passer against, I believe, Gary Stills of West Virginia got the flag for the roughing. But that's the one thing you can't do against these Miami receivers. Andre King, another one of those great sophomore wideouts. You have to make the tackle after a 6-yard out.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer against the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Again, the penalty is huge because it is tacked on at the end of the run. A big gain by Andre King. Gary Stills almost chop blocked by Nick Williams. A little bit late, but he went for the head, and then the toss to the turf. That's what got Gary Stills the penalty. But again, a huge penalty because it goes after the big gain by Andre King. But back to what I was saying earlier, Craig, with these types of receivers Miami has and Scott Covington can throw to, you have to make the tackle after the 6-yard out.
Third flag on West Virginia. The word on Stills, great athlete, no question. Sometimes plays out of control because of his reckless abandon on the field. 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. James lowers his pads to the 9. A pickup of 5.
Boy, if Edgerrin James doesn't get caught up in that AstroTurf, I'm not sure he doesn't hit the back of the goalpost on that one.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter with the score and a wild one. West Virginia leading Miami 14-3. We'll return to Mountaineer Field right after this message and a word from your local station. Start the second quarter in Morgantown. Miami on the road, trailing 14-3, but the Hurricanes inside the 10-yard line, looking at 2nd and 6.
Nice drive by Miami. They only got the ball one time in the first half. Very effective in the red zone, just like their opponent today, West Virginia. 75% touchdown.
Covington, quick hit. Down inside the 5. Reggie Wayne made the catch at the 2 and knocked out by Scooter Davis.
Boy, Miami has really done a nice job on offense today. They've stuck within their game plan. Run Edgerrin James had a lot of success with James running the ball, and they're starting to spread the ball on the outside. Those very speedy receivers. Reggie Wayne, another guy with great speed on the outside. Another one of those great sophomores that Butch Davis has put together. Very young Miami team, but man, do they have a lot of talent in a lot of different spots.
Wayne sometimes gets overlooked if Santana Moss. Wayne was a Big East Rookie of the Year, and a quick just walk-in touchdown. James.
Sounds like this crowd went home. There is dead silence. Not a whole lot of folks made the trip up from Miami, but man, this crowd, are you sure I mean, we're seeing the pictures, they're still here, but they might have left for a hot dog. Give me a boo or something, at least be upset that Miami scored. They're just...
So far, there's been a lot of controversy about the actions of some of the fans here in Morgantown, but so far very quiet. And the extra point is up and through. Crossland connects. Wild one going on in Morgantown, West Virginia by 4. Craig Bullerjack had Cunningham and John Dockery back in Morgantown. Look at Edgerrin James. Boy, they hit fast.
Oh, this Miami offense explodes. They're very quick in getting the ball into the end zone. 26 touchdown drives this season, 18 of them under 2 minutes, 11 of them under 1 minute, and 11 touchdowns this year have been on 3 plays or less by Miami. But you've got to wonder, how often do you want to put that West Virginia offense back out on the field?
Well, and again, I mean, it's nice to find the end zone. The question is, Ed, how about the rest time for that Miami defense?
Well, they better be in shape because they're getting a workout today.
Antonio Brown. Not much to the 10-yard line, so West Virginia will start with their poorest field position of the day. Fitzgerald made the special teams tackle. And tonight on CBS, it's Early Edition, followed by Martial Law and Walker, Texas Rangers. It's America's Naughty Heroes tonight, right here on CBS.
West Virginia's offense always huddles on the sideline. Taking a look at the numbers, Bulger has been very good. Covington doing a great job in his own right. Both of these guys have had very nice beginnings to the first half. But West Virginia, they huddle on the sideline so that when they come out, that the Miami defense won't know what personnel that they're coming out in. Right now, they came out with 4 wides.
4 wide receivers, zero away to Lamb, back in a nifty catch. Saunders turned that head just a little bit, but able to make the catch, and now some complaints about late hits along that near sideline. Fitzgerald and Reed in on the stop.
Saunders lined up on the right side, came in motion again. Just another little screen, has tough time hanging on to it, but a really nice job by the strong safety Edward Reed, reading that play from the get-go and making the stop. Look at the numbers.
Well, David,
truly is
a Goliath. Receptions first, yards first, 100-yard games, ranked number 1, and touchdowns fourth.
And let's not forget, he's missed 1 season of football. Last year, sat out, blew his ACL out during training camp. But David Saunders owns the record book here at West Virginia and missed a year.
Saunders, 7 catches for 49 yards here early in the first half. Brings up a 3rd and 11 after the incompletion to Ivy.
And in David Saunders' absence, Sean Foreman turned in a great year last year. Had 77 catches, which broke David Saunders' single-season record of 76 that had been set in 96.
Well, Saunders says that's okay because Foreman's my best buddy.
Yeah, I'll let him have 1 record.
Bulger rolls out, fires, has a man wide open. Incomplete, just missed Sean Foreman.
Really the first bad pass that Mark Bulger has thrown all day. Foreman had the Miami defense beat deep. Really the first poor pass that Bulger has thrown all day. I want that one back. Foreman, a big target at 6'2", has great hands. Boy, Miami's starting to play pretty physical. Outblade's got a great shot on Saunders, but that ball just spun Foreman around, was not able to get those huge hands up and make the catch.
Edward Reed back to receive the punt. Good high hanger. Reed takes it at the 46. And Reed ridden down right at the 46-yard line. So a fine punt of 44 yards, no return. CBS Sports coverage of NASDAQ college football will continue after this message and a word from your local station. West Virginia leads Miami by a score of 14-10. Welcome back to Morgantown. Craig Bullerjack and Ed Cunningham. We talked about both teams explosive on the offensive end, but yet both know very well how big this game means in its Big East standards.
Well, you know, Virginia Tech losing to Temple opened it up for everybody. West Virginia still undefeated in the Big East, but Miami with that 1 loss to Virginia Tech really needed that game last week by Temple.
Edgerrin James high steps his way over the 50-yard line to the 47.
Number 5, Edgerrin James carrying the ball. Number 41.
Some great blocking so far for Edgerrin James. He's done a nice job after. But let's watch Nick Williams, the fullback. He's going to go out in front of the run by just a quick pull by the offensive line. Excuse me, that's Richard Mercier who gets out on number 45, Kyle Caden, and does a nice job of cutting him down and letting James get on the outside.
Motion on both lines. And flags come down.
Well, we had a long drought of flags. The officials had to get back involved, I guess.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, second down.
Jack Kramer making the call, today's referee.
Robert Hall, the left tackle, was in a two-point stance. In other words, his hand wasn't on the ground. Just kind of started leaning back a little bit. Wasn't able to stop the lean. As an offensive tackle, especially the left offensive tackle, a lot of pressure out there trying to block Gary Stills and those guys, trying to get every advantage you can.
So instead of 2nd and 2, 2nd and 7. Quick hit to the flat. Near sideline is Reggie Wayne. And a pickup of 7 down to the 47. Make sure you check out CBS tomorrow. NFL doubleheader starts you off at 1 o'clock. Baltimore, Green Bay, New England, Miami. And then the late games, Jacksonville, Denver, and John Elway, Cincinnati, Oakland, and Seattle and San Diego.
Jacksonville, Denver, very interesting matchup of two great quarterbacks. John Elway of Denver and Mark Brunell, my former college teammate. Both of them very similar, how they run around and make big plays down the field.
3rd down and 3 from the eye. James, second back through, big hole, makes a nice cut at the 40, breaks it down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Jerry Porter hopped on his back and kept James out of the end zone. 23-yard pickup, Edgerrin James.
Same play run just a minute ago. Richard Mercier and left tackle Hall are going to pull out, but watch Mercier again get the cut block. Get your defender again. It's Kyle Caden. Actually, didn't get a piece of him. That was all good running by Edgerrin James, but again, the exact same play that was run a few moments ago. Edgerrin James getting outside. Good job by the offensive line, giving him some different lanes to run through.
James, 8 carries, 61 yards. Here in the first half, Covington looks right, throws back across the plane. And James inside the 15 to the 11-yard line. First down, Miami. Barrett Green made the tackle. Green, a former strong safety. He turned linebacker, and Coach Nealon told us, boy, he should have made the move a lot earlier. He's a fine one, number 33.
Barrett Green has yo-yoed back and forth from linebacker to safety, now back to linebacker, leads this West Virginia defense with 70 tackles. How important is he to this West Virginia defense? He has 70 tackles. The next best guy only has 35.
Green averaging, how about this, 14 tackles a game. James right up the middle. Still on his feet. Oh, touchdown! And that run brings a chorus of boos.
The fans are here, but they are in shock. Edgerrin James did not have a great outing against Florida State, and he has showed up at West Virginia running all over. Once again, Miami pulling a lot of their linebackers. Barrett Green tries to tackle him. Tompkins tries to tackle him. And Edgerrin James puts the hand down, a drill that running backs do all the time to keep their balance. Put the hand in the ground to keep your feet on the ground. Great job by Edgerrin James.
Crossland's kick is up and good. James having a marvelous first half. 9 carries, 72 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Miami road leads by 3. Blue skies in Morgantown. West Virginia, Eddie, had a 14-3 lead, but Miami has come back to score 2 unanswered.
That's one of the longer scoring drives of the year for Miami. Boy, they get the ball in the end zone very quickly. Edgerrin James does a lot on his own during that run. What a fine run and great balance. Get that hand down and get in the end zone for Miami.
Later, John.
Kick is away, line drive. Antonio Brown takes it on a hop at the 7. Brown dancing and then is knocked down at the 16-yard line. You talked about the power of Edgerrin James. Listen to this.
Good job by the offensive line, and James is able to get through, and it looks like he stopped. Listen to the fans. They start booing because they thought Edgerrin James' momentum had stopped, and it did not. He just does a fantastic job after contact. It's one thing NFL scouts always talk about, yards after contact. 6 yards by Edgerrin James after Barrett Green hit him for the 6 points for Miami. There's a look at that hair again. It's amazing he can actually fit his helmet on.
That's an exercise large, I think. Zeraway pops through, following the blocks of Solomon Page and Randy Dunnigan, the left tackle and left guard.
It's interesting, West Virginia now in about the same boat that Miami was in after West Virginia scored their first 2 touchdowns. Not time to panic. Stick with what you know, and what you know is you got a great running back in Amos Zeraway, a very good controlled passing game with Mark Bulger and Sean Foreman and David Saunders. Continue to chip away and do the things you do best on offense.
11 minutes left, first half. Zeraway, well, he put his hand down and was down, but picked up a yard up to the 25. Nate Webster, middle linebacker, made the tackle. 220-pound sophomore from Miami. Well, I tell you, the Miami linebackers, Ed, simple. Great speed, and they have great, they follow the ball so well.
And they're starting to get help from the safeties that are starting to creep up. The Edward Reed, the strong safety, and Al Blades, the free safety, are starting to come towards the line of scrimmage. Bill Miller, the defensive coordinator, said it's going to be a cat and mouse game all day. It just depends. Do we want to play the run? Do we want to play the pass? With Zeraway, I think you've got to stop him first.
3rd down 2. Bulger sets up and fires complete. Far sideline. 1st down. David Saunders makes the grab, and Mike Lump, the freshman from Delray Beach, pushed him out of bounds. A pretty good combination that West Virginia will throw at you. Eddie Saunders and Foreman. Big opportunity for Lump today.
Amazing how many good players they have at the skill positions here. Miami has some great ones too, but the triple threat, these 3 guys, Saunders, Foreman, Ivy again, the fastest of the bunch, putting up huge numbers. But again, it goes back to Mark Bulger, the quarterback. You have to have a guy who's able to move the ball around the field.
Zeraway, right down at the 42, picks up a couple. Edward Reed, the strong safety, knocked him down.
There is just not a lot of room on this run by Amos Zeraway. Watch the pulling backside guard and tackle. You got Dunnigan, gets a little hook block. Solomon Page, there just wasn't there. You saw the little jump through the hole. Not much of a gain, only 2 yards, but there are very few guys at any level of football that when the seam's that small, they can jump right through it, get skinny, got to kind of turn the shoulders and get a gain on that small of a hole.
Boy, a rare I formation set. Zeraway hops and skips to the 44-yard line. Webster again just stacking up those tackles again today.
You got to figure Don Nehlen and his offensive staff, Don Simrell, the offensive coordinator, willing to eat some of this clock off. I think they've seen enough of this Miami offense, the quick strike offense today, and they're going to want to grind some of this clock out so they can keep Covington and Moss and Edgerrin James especially off the field, hopefully for the rest of this half.
3rd down and 5. Bulger swings it out. Not a good pass. He wanted Zeraway on the flat. You see a little push after that play?
Well, what you see is Miami starting to get that swagger. You know, Miami has always been known as an in-your-face type of program. Butch Davis has done a fantastic job of trying to change that image, but you still have to play with confidence. And it may seem a little cocky, but you start to see Miami getting some of that confidence back.
Jay Taylor will punt for the 2nd time on the day, back at his own 30. Edward Reed awaits the punt for Miami.
Go get it, baby!
Good kick, flags are down, takes a West Virginia bounce. And oh, what a tackle down at the 5-yard line. It was Dave Lightcap. Great special teams hustle, but a flag down.
Holding against West Virginia. Because of the poor field position of Miami, they will have West Virginia re-kick the ball and take the penalty. As a player, you don't have to look to the sidelines to know that you're supposed to accept that one. Let me see. Start on the 5-yard line or back them up 10 yards from the spot of the foul and have him re-kick.
Holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Don Nealon 3 years ago changed all of his protection, all of his punt protection, and West Virginia went to a drop-back type of punt blocking. There's the center, gets knocked down and pulls the Miami player with him. That's what they're, if the official behind you sees your hand behind him as you pull him down, you'll call that every time. But West Virginia had some problems getting some punts blocked. Back in '96 against this Miami team, had one blocked to lose the game. So Don Nealon changed their entire punt structure. They've had a lot more success blocking the punt since, or blocking for the punt since then.
Crossland again will punt. Oh, kicked it straight up. This one goes out of bounds, and it will depend on the spot. And right now, Miami, instead of being pinned on their own 5, could be near midfield.
They just gained 48 yards of field position, did Miami, by accepting that penalty.
Now they're going to mark it actually inside West Virginia territory, Eddie, at the 48. That was a 19-yard punt.
Jay Taylor, the punter for West Virginia, does punts, kickoffs, extra points, field goals. He has a strained hip flexor that has slowed him down, and that was probably why he had such a short punt.
Miami 17, West Virginia 14. Eddie, you bring the sax. It's homecoming. That's the alumni band.
Nah, I left the sax at home. You know, when you're on the road, that's a big thing to be carrying. Although I brought my golf clubs, I might have been able to fit it in the bag with them.
Fumble on the snap. Covington looks like he covered up. Stills has somehow disappeared, Eddie, in this game. Let's go downstairs and check in with John Dockery.
And you know, Craig, we talked about Gary Stills coming back after 4 games of being out with that broken kneecap, the inspirational, emotional leader of that defense. Well, he hasn't had a good game. He missed some assignments, hasn't been tackling well, came off the field, was really hot. He had some words with the coaches. They're letting him calm down. It's not so much that he's injured. I think they're just letting him calm down. And Thornton has played well at his position, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, good hit. James takes a fall. And he was met by Mark Thurston, the redshirt freshman out of Miami.
Mark Thurston, the outside linebacker who moved into the starting role when Gary Stills came out, runs a little stunt with John Thornton, comes inside the offensive guard, does a nice job getting up the field. The Miami offensive line, they need to set on the same level when they're running any type of pass blocking or any type of draw. They have to set on the same level to pick up that stunts. Gary Stills comes back into the ballgame.
3rd down and 14 for Miami. Covington from the shotgun. Covington pumps fine, goes down. Boy, good protection, but the pocket, you can only hold him at 3, maybe 4 seconds. And that time, good downfield coverage by West Virginia.
You know, if you think it's odd to see a guy number 87 rushing the passer, is there a flag on the play?
Sideline warning against West Virginia.
Hey, where's the pushback coach?
Need the get back coach, that's for sure. Don Nealon, the next time that's called, it is a penalty, but good job by West Virginia defense. But if you think it's odd to see number 87 rushing the passer, that's because Antoine Lake was moved from tight end to outside linebacker when Gary Stills was hurt against the Ohio State game. And defensive coordinator Steve Dunlap told us he's going to be a very special player for us at outside backer here at West Virginia.
Crossland, the left footer, has it blocked. It's up for grabs on the carpet. David Carter and Seth Abraham able to come in.
We're going to see a jailbreak on the Miami front. David Carter runs in completely unblocked. Another stunt in the middle of that line by West Virginia totally confuses the Hurricanes' punt protection. And again, number 7, David Carter, is free to run right at the punter. A huge change of momentum here at Mountaineer Field.
Miami with the 17-14 lead, but after the block punt, West Virginia at the 19 of Miami. Bulger fires. Far side, the catch and pitch. Sean Foreman, first down. The mark, Foreman down at the 5-yard line. Michael Smith and Edward Reed teamed up to make the tackle.
Butch Davis, going all the way back to his days at Miami as defensive coordinator for Jimmy Johnson and at Dallas, has always been a zone type of defense where your cornerbacks play just a little bit off the ball. Miami might start to consider playing a little more bump and run because West Virginia's underneath stuff is killing them.
First and goal from the 5. Zeraway, the lone back. Zeraway gets the call, cuts in, back in, slashes. Inside the 5 to the 4. A pickup of 1. Webster again has covered this field sideline to sideline. Makes a tackle for Miami.
But again, Butch Davis earlier in the game had that talk with his defensive line that John Dockery told us about, getting penetration. That time Michael Lawson did a fantastic job getting up the field. But again, it's the unbelievable balance and cutting ability of Amo Zeraway that was able to run away from Lawson.
First 8 carries for Zeraway, 35 yards. The last 8 times he's touched the ball, only 11. High formation. Bulger rolls, fires, and smartly tosses that one 15 yards behind the end zone line.
Wow, the maturation process of Mark Bulger continues. Nobody open. It was a one-man route. Sean Foreman running along the back of the end zone. Nobody is home, and Bulger again, very mature quarterback, his second year as a starter, just a junior. Foreman working down one-on-one, comes out in the option route. Nobody home. Get rid of it. Throw it to a fan. Send it as a souvenir. Whatever you do, do not take a sack or try to force the ball in.
This West Virginia offense last year limited Ed in a lot of ways, but they continue to just kind of give Bulger new assignments, new reads week to week. 3 wide receivers. Bulger on the slant. Touchdown. Corey Ivy. Second touchdown of the day. 14 on the season as the extra point is up and good. Bulger having a fine afternoon. Connects with Ivy, and West Virginia takes a 21-17 lead. Bulger has the headsets on. West Virginia leading 21-17. Ivy takes it in from 4 yards, and boy, 1:11 head off the clock.
Boy, you talk about the field possession battle. When you go in and start blocking kicks, turns the game around very quickly. Things looked pretty dim for West Virginia. David Carter gets the block and gives West Virginia great field position. They very quickly get it into the end zone.
Holliger will kick it away for West Virginia. Good kick. James Jackson at the goal line. Jackson can fly and up to the 25. Now, a lot of block punts, a lot of big plays, of course, in this series. And Eddie, let's go back to 1996, 2 years ago. West Virginia losing a heartbreaker to Miami when Tremaine Mack blocked this fourth quarter punt, handed the ball to Nate Brooks, who scored Miami's game-winning touchdown.
Last time the fans here at West Virginia saw this Miami team, they were running around this field celebrating a miracle victory. I remember the shockwaves that went through college football that night. West Virginia looked like they had a sure win. Tremaine Mack turned it around with one blocked punt.
5:11 remaining in this wild first half. Play action. Covington steps up in the pocket. He eluded the first man in black and gold. Blue and gold, that is, and is taken down at the 25, so he'll lose a couple. Coming up on the College Football Today, AXA, an equitable halftime report. Make sure you tune in. Timmy Brando, Craig James, and the coach, Lou Holtz. We'll get you caught up on all the scores and highlights on yet another monster day of college football across the country.
Boy, as we roll into November, these guys are going to start getting real busy. Brando and James and Coach Holtz trying to keep up with the bowl championship series. All the wild things going on in college football.
A loss of 1, 2nd and 11. James, the handoff.
Edgerrin got just a little impatient on that play. Miami has run that play 4 or 5 times here in the first half where they pull Hall and Mercier, the left guard and left tackle. That time Edgerrin James decided to cut it up inside of them instead of following his blockers. Coaches will always tell a running back, hey, if you decide to leave your blockers, you're on your own.
John Thornton, they call him Thunder, the defensive tackle, made the tackle. They put a lot of double teams on Big John Thornton, but this time was able to make the stop. Covington on the rollout, tucks and runs, and then out of bounds at the 32-yard line. They wanted to develop at a rollout package for Covington. He was under so much pressure 2 weeks ago against Florida State. They wanted to buy some time for Covington today.
Well, you're going to have to buy time when a guy like Gary Stills gets off of the ball as quick as he does. He's going against Robert Hall, who goes down inside. Edgerrin James, don't know that that was a setup rollout, but Scott Covington saw Gary Stills get off the ball lightning quick. We thought he'd lost a step. Boy, you look at that film, doesn't look like he's lost a thing.
Miami forced to punt. Crossman, the left footer, gets it up and away. Good hang time, fair catch. West Virginia will let this one bounce, and it gets a hurricane roll down to the 21. Well, Time Magazine calls Sammo Hung America's least likely, most refreshing network star. Don't miss all the lightning speed action on all new episode of Martial Law tonight on CBS. Well, he can do it all.
Great entertainment this afternoon on CBS as well. Got a fine ball game, but it's amazing how quickly things turn because of the kicking game. You know, coaches get that's when coaches get gray hairs, is when things go wrong in the kicking game. But West Virginia comes out, blocks a punt, turns the momentum around. Now their defense came out, has a good 3 and out against Miami.
Bulger returns with a 21-17 lead. Play fake, sideline, complete. Boy, Bulger, well, he may not be the flashy kind, but you know, he's blue collar, I guess you could say, gets it done. Saunders picks up another catch.
But every time I hear adjectives like that, Craig, it always makes me think that they think the guy can't play, that he's just a gritty. That's not the case with Mark Bulger. He has a very quick release, a good arm. He knows the offense inside and out, and his timing is impeccable. That route there, he threw that ball long before his receiver came out of the break. Get it to your playmakers right now. Let them make people play. Forget all the adjectives. This guy can flat play.
So far, 17 of 22, over 150 yards. We'll do the fakeroo down the middle, has a man up on the ladder. Foreman with a miracle catch at the 25. And he beat the freshman, Mike Rumpf. And you talked about his arm strength. Mr. Cunningham, kudos.
They're going to run a little play fake. They fake the reverse. They're going to fake a little handoff to Zaraway. Then Bulger fakes it, hides the ball very well. Mike Rumpf is actually in good position, but he never gets around and finds the ball. Sean Foreman goes up with those huge hands, pulls it down for a 46-yard grab. Very quietly, has over 100 yards received.
Now Zaraway breaks open. Boy, you get the ball downfield on the pass. Sometimes the defense is on their back heels, and this time Zaraway just pops it for 9, and a flag is thrown.
I really liked what Mark Bulger did after that long completion pass. He got his offense down there as quick as possible to run that play because, like you said, Craig, he knew that Miami defense is scrambling around. They're on their heels a little bit. They rip off an 8-yard, but we'll see if it's good after the penalty.
Here's Jack Kramer.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense.
Was he winded?
He's running around. I mean, all these big plays, this offense is not a whole lot of defense has been played on Mountaineer Field today. He's had a lot to keep up with.
Jack better spend a few weeks on the treadmill. Hey, Bulger, 18 of 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That type of performance will definitely put a little sweat on the brow of Butch Davis.
And with his 200-yard game, that's the 13th time in his young career he's been over the 200-yard mark.
The most ever at West Virginia University.
Amazing, only halfway through his junior campaign.
Again, last year, everyone talked about Mark Bulger, the new guy under center for West Virginia. Could he get it done? The only thing he did last year was go out and throw for over 2,000 yards. Best ever by a sophomore at West Virginia, and second best ever at West Virginia. He's answered a lot of critics in his career.
Well, he had recruits out of high school said he could not play Division I. Looks right, looks left, comes right back, it's picked off. Edward Reed, he made the read and is knocked down at the 42-yard line. Edward Reed, playing that strong safety spot, came up playing center field and picked him off.
We've been talking all day about Miami being in a zone defense. The one thing it allows you to do is it allows your safeties to kind of lurk back there, play a little robber. Bulger goes to a second read, and Edward Reed is right there to pick him off. A good job by the strong safety, reading the quarterback's eyes when he came back to his side, stepped right in front of Anthony Beck. Another big play in this game. Boy, it's amazing how many times this game can go back and forth.
Second interception of the year by Reed, and the third pick thrown by Bulger. That was a 37-yard return. Covington on the pitch. Santana Moss cannot get outside. Check that, Edgerrin James. Charles Fisher and Chris Edmonds chased him down.
Miami keeps that running game going. I would do the same thing. They're going against a West Virginia defense that has really struggled against the run this year. There's a look at the numbers of the two backs. If you'd have said Edgerrin James would outrush Zerway, most people would have looked at you like you're crazy. But the reason Miami having quite a bit of success running the football is that the defense of West Virginia giving up 231 yards a game. That's 105th in college football. There's only 112 teams in Division I, so West Virginia has struggled against the run all year.
Well, next Saturday on CBS Sports Spectacular, 4-time Boston Marathon champ Bill Rogers and Olympic gold medalist joined Benoit Samuelson will be among the elite athletes to shine at the Sun America Runners Classic. Followed by Georgia and Florida NASDAQ College Football. The Bulldogs and the Gators Saturday, 3:30 Eastern. NASDAQ College Football on CBS.
Two teams chasing, Tennessee and the SEC East, but an interesting play on all of that. I had a chance to talk to Tim Brando earlier in the week, so wouldn't it be amazing? Tennessee plays for the SEC Championship and loses. Florida may be able to sneak into that national championship game.
Amazing if that's the case with the injuries that Steve Spurrier's had to deal with this season down in Gatorland. Now whistles stop play. Minute 32 before half. Here we go. Speaking of Tim Brando, Greg James and the coach Lou Holtz will be along in just a few minutes with the AXA Equitable halftime report. Covington sets up, feels pressure, down he goes. Kevin Landel, second sack of the season and number 10 on his career.
Kevin Landel lined up at the outside linebacker spot. The offensive line sliding away from him. Edgerrin James had to block him, and Landel just ran right through him. Number 75 comes up to try to help. That's Damon Neely, the right guard, but just couldn't get over there in time. A good job by Landel. You know, this West Virginia defense, although they've struggled against the run, can really get after the quarterback. 3 sacks on the day. Gary Still's back. They can really get some pressure on him. And I'm surprised that we have not seen Miami move the pocket a little bit more. We were told during the week by Larry Coker, their offensive coordinator, that they'd worked on it during the 2 weeks off, and I expected to see them move the pocket a little more, Greg.
Covington told us, rollout package. He wanted to have just a few extra seconds. You saw in the opening, too, Eddie, you talked about just the pounding he took 2 weeks ago at the Orange Bowl against Florida State. Well, Covington called the timeout. We'll get an update with John Dockery.
You know, Craig and Ed, I was just wondering about that timeout. Why call a timeout? It's 3rd and 23, ball on the 45. West Virginia only had one left. Why not force them to use a timeout so they don't have much room when they get the ball back? I'm a little surprised myself. I thought it was a bad maneuver by Butch Davis of Miami.
I agree with John Dockery. I mean, run the play, but at the same time, this is a big down to decide what you want to do. But Doc may be right. They could have saved that timeout.
3rd and 23. Covington steps up, fires. Complete. Man was wide open. Reggie Wayne, Big East Rookie of the Year as a freshman, of course, a year ago. And, well, Doc.
Hey, Doc, let's wipe the egg off of our face because Miami just made us look dumb. Maybe they knew they had to call a timeout to set up Reggie Wayne for the first down.
Shows a lot of confidence.
Scott Covington has to avoid the rush of West Virginia. Does that by moving up in the pocket. Good shuffle to find Wayne downfield, and those are the types of plays as a quarterback. Those are big, big plays. 3rd and 23. Late in the first half, you need those types of plays.
Miami making a move just before half. Like a mix-up on the pass pattern. You had Wayne coming one way and Santana Moss cutting to the near sideline. Incomplete.
Moss was just running a little flat route, didn't get his head around quick enough, but the ball was thrown behind him by Covington.
Moss quiet, Ed, on the day. Of course, an explosive receiver. Everyone knows he had the 3 touchdowns in a 4-minute span against Rutgers a few weeks ago.
Oh, he can explode in a hurry. You never want to forget about him if you're a defensive coordinator.
No catches so far here in the first half for Santana Moss. Covington in the pocket, fires in and out of the hands, incomplete, a little low. Again, looking for Wayne. That stops the clock with 1:10 remaining second quarter.
You know, with 1:10 left and a couple of one timeout left, of course, they burned the one that Doc and I talked about, but a little surprised they haven't maybe just sprinkled in a little run. You can't use it every play because of the time, but just sprinkle it in to keep this West Virginia defense honest. You've had so much success running the football on the day. I'm surprised they haven't tried to run it a few more times on this possession.
2 wide receivers to the near side. Covington again throws, picked off. It's taken by Fisher. Charles Fisher at the 40 and is up in it at the 42. Covington with only his 2nd interception of the season.
Charles Fisher, another one of those converted wide receivers, now playing defensive back for West Virginia. Covington locks in on his receiver from the word go. Big mistake. A bad pass, though, really. Charles Fisher was in a zone coverage, and the pass was just poorly thrown by Covington. But when you start focusing in on a certain area of the field, the guys in that zone can really pick you off.
22-yard return and off the hip. Not quite. Saunders tried to do the hip catch, and Al Blades was on coverage. That stops the clock. Under a minute to go. 54 ticks on the clock.
It's one of those plays that Mark Bulger told us he loves to run, the play action timing route, where he does a little play fake, 1, 2, 3, boom, the ball is gone. Then it's on the receivers to get themselves open because they know the ball's coming their way.
Good look at Mark Bulger out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, junior. 6'3", 210 from the shotgun. 4 wide receivers set. Oh, shovel pass. Fairway. Good hole to midfield. That will bring up a 3rd down and call it 3. Nate Webster stayed home. Great defensive effort by Webster, who's got to be in double digits on tackles.
What have we not seen by this West Virginia offense today? You know, they've changed some formations around, gone to a more spread offense. We've seen fake reverses, passes down the field, underneath routes. Now you see a shovel pass. They got the whole complement.
Draw play. That's another one out of the bag. First down, Zeraway to the 40. Clock will stop, remember, when they reset the chains after the first down. 24 seconds remain. First half.
Very interesting by West Virginia. They've left, as a Miami player is down, they've left their trips receivers on their side of the bench, and that allows them to run in a few fresh bodies while the team is getting set to run their offensive plays. That's Dan Morgan.
Dan Morgan looked to be holding his right ankle. He's the Big East leader in tackles. 83 when this game began, and Ed, it's amazing, 16 stops a game.
And at 19 years old, you start to understand the youth at Miami. They were hit with a bunch of scholarship reduction penalties by the NCAA. And Dan Morgan, at 19 years old, he leads the Big East. He's got 139 tackles in his last 8 games. But Butch Davis has found some great young players here at Miami. Bodies just fly around everywhere once the pile starts to form. Zaraway, a good run up the middle. There's Morgan coming in for the tackle, and Nate Webster lands right on his ankle. You know, those are the things that you just can't help. It's like playing basketball when you come down with a rebound and roll your ankle. But Morgan looks to be walking okay, not too gingerly.
4 tackles, as you saw on the day. Clock now starts. Under 20 seconds, low snap, shotgun, Bulger, home run ball up top, and incomplete. Stops the clock, 13 seconds remaining.
That ball was thrown away by Mark Bulger. Another good read by him. His receiver did not beat the press off the line of scrimmage. So just throw it down out of bounds, come back for another play. And again, you save that timeout. You don't have to call the timeout. You get the ball out of bounds, and it stops the clock.
Second down, 10 from the 40. West Virginia trying to build on a 21-17 lead just before half. Bulger steps up, fires across the middle, connects. That's Corey Ivy to the 12. And that will again stop the clock. 6 seconds remain.
Fade route.
As they reset the chains.
Fade route.
You're calling fade?
6 seconds. You've got time for one more. Jay Taylor strolling out there, but if I'm West Virginia, I'm going to take one shot at the end zone. 1, 2, 3 step, throw it up, incomplete. You've got 2 seconds to kick it. If not, if you catch it, it's a touchdown. Huge momentum game. If I'm West Virginia, I'm going to take a shot.
28-yard reception. I don't know if Don Nealon is going to listen to Eddie C today.
Should I take off the headset and scream, hey, Coach, you got time for one more shot?
Jay Taylor looks like he's going to trot on.
You think that guy wants to take one more shot, Bulger?
You bet. You looked around, you saw the players coming off. Saunders, Ivy all wanted to have one shot at the end zone. 6 seconds remain. Field goals on the season, 5 of 6. His longest boot from 47. This will come from 29 yards. And the kick is through the uprights from 29. So Nealon makes the call. They connect. Taylor now 6 of 7 on the year, and they build a 24-17 lead.
Still 2 seconds left, though. I think Don Nealon could have maybe taken a shot into the end zone. But, you know, you put the points up. You go up by 7 points, ready to go into the half. Now you got to kick off, maybe get down there. There's 2 seconds left. I still think maybe one fade route with the 2 seconds left. I think that you should have maybe taken a shot, but that's just me. Of course, it's hard to argue with Don Nealon. I mean, 19 years, fifth all-time active coach in winning.
Make sure you stick around. Coming up at halftime, our AXA and Equitable halftime report. Brando, James, and the coach, Lou Holt. Scores and highlights coming your way. 2 seconds left here, first half in what has been a up and down field battle in Morgantown. I guess maybe some are heading to the getting a quick break on the snack bar.
Well, there's going to be long lines at the restrooms. These fans would like to get there, but they forget how this game has been going. We've already had a blocked punt, a bunch of huge touchdowns. Never know what can happen in this matchup.
Oliger will kick. James Jackson and Najah Davenport await the kick. You're right. Miami so explosive. 2 seconds. Oliger the kick, smartly squibs it. And this one will roll into the end zone. So no return. No time off the clock, so Miami actually will come out and get one offensive play with 2 seconds remaining.
Oliger got too much foot into that kick. He should have made it die on the field of play so that Miami would have had to touch it. It would have started the clock. If the receiving team does not touch it, it doesn't start. A good job by Miami. Heads up play, not to touch it, let it go through the end zone. Hey, now you get one shot.
One shot for Miami. They trail by a touchdown, 24-17. All right, Coach, call it.
Now it looks like they're going to take a knee.
Covington took a knee.
I cheated. I cheated. I saw the formation they were in.
Let's go downstairs. John Dockery with head coach Don Nehlen of West Virginia.
Coach, right before the half, you had 6 seconds left. Did you consider taking a shot for the touchdown and then kicking the field goal?
Well, we were trying to take a shot for it the first time, but we felt we were better off. They were doing a good job on us, so we thought we took one shot, and then we tried to get it close enough to kick it.
So you took the field goal. How would you describe the first half? Up and down, back and forth, lots of plays, lots of offense for you.
Yeah, I think we've said defense back 30 years. Hopefully we'll try to play the second half, but it's a good game for the fans. It makes the coach nervous.
Good luck, Coach.
All right, thanks, Doc. That's the end of the first half. The score, West Virginia 24 over Miami 17. Brando, James, and Lou Holtz will be along with the College Football Today, AXA, and Equitable halftime report after this message and a word from your local station.
Expect to see the same thing here in the second half. They'll continue to pound Edgerrin James. We have not seen James Jackson in the backfield. Larry Coker told us, the offensive coordinator of Miami, that they had to get him in the game, but James has been very effective.
Oliger the kick. Jackson 6 yards deep and takes a knee. Now, Jackson was instrumental in a big game against Florida State 2 weeks ago at the Orange Bowl, but as you mentioned, Jackson has not been a factor in that Miami offense.
Well, they haven't really had to put him in at all. I mean, Scott Covington has had a very good first half, although the one pick where he kind of read the one side of the field for too long and let the zone defense of West Virginia pick him off. But they haven't had to get James Jackson in there because Edgerrin James has been so effective. Like I said, another look at the stats of Scott Covington. But like I said, expect Miami to do the same thing they did in the first half and get a strong dose of Edgerrin James.
First and 10 from the 20. We start the third quarter here in Morgantown. Hurricanes on the ground. James, big yards. 9, maybe 10, up to the 30. Cogdell made the tackle. Number 1, the middle linebacker. Cogdell, interesting story. You talk about injuries that will take away talent from a football player, but he broke his hip last year against Syracuse, one of the better tight ends around the Big East Conference, and really maybe lost a little bit, was trying to regain his speed week to week.
He broke off a part of his hip. They had to go in and actually put a plate in to reattach it, and the coaches do not feel he's back to 100% yet.
Hurricanes stay on the ground for a second effort, a couple of yards for James. Battles his way up to the 32, knocked out by 55. Gary Stills.
You know, I always liked as a player, Craig, you know, I played offense my whole life. I always liked as a player when the game plan was simplified. And it's very obvious that Miami had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They didn't go in and throw in a bunch of new stuff because they're running the same plays over and over and over again. The same 2 running plays start the first half. It allows you to be more aggressive.
First and 10 from the 32. Covington swings it out. He's tied in. Fulcher breaks it down the sideline and then bumped out of bounds inside the 35 to the 32. Gary Tompkins made the tackle.
These are the types of things that just drive coaches crazy. Mondrell Fulcher, a converted wide receiver, has great speed for a tight end. Covington does a good job, looks to his left, nobody there. Safety valve is my tight end wide open, but you have to make the tackle. Barrett Green misses the tackle. Number 23, Scooter Davis misses the tackle. That's a huge gain that really should only be a 6 or 7 yard gain. Those things will drive Nehlen nuts.
Well, that 6 or 7 yard gain turned out to be 36. In Miami, marching downfield. James tried it inside, cuts it outside to the 22-yard line. Porter, the free safety, made the tackle.
The one thing when you're running a lot of zone plays, you have to have good blocking on the backside. Mondrell Fulcher, number 18, gets a little seal block on John Thornton. Thornton not able to come back outside to defend the run, showing the versatility of a guy. Fulcher, but Edgerrin James, again, I said expect to see a big dose. If they continue to move it like that, he may break some kind of records today for Miami.
9-yard gain, already 15 carries creeping up on the century mark, 92 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Trying to turn the corner, throws a stiff arm, and scoots out of bounds at the 20.
Boy, what a nice move by Edgerrin James there. Gary Tompkins, the strong safety, had him dead to rights. Put a little stutter step on Tompkins and got around to get the first down. James is really running well this afternoon.
Just under 6 yards a carry, 16 rushes for 95 yards. He was all Big East a year ago, ran for nearly 1,100 yards. Only the third running back at Miami to break 1,000. That is amazing when you think of the talent that has come through the Hurricane system. High formation, 1st and 10 from the 20. James again. Boys, just a little dance here. Step right, step left, picks up a couple down to the 17. Barrett Green made the stop.
Good job by Miami's offensive line. In the middle there, Richard Mercier, the left guard, the center Ty Wise, the right guard Damon Neely. Done a great job in the red zone for Miami in this game. It's been great. They've been great all season, but today they are 3 of 3. 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
And they're ringing the doorbell right now. 2nd and 7 from the 17. Covington fires and hooks up. Reggie Wayne, far side, out of bounds at the 7-yard line, pushed by Perlo Bastine. Perlo backs up Charles Fisher, one of the corners.
You know, these fans from West Virginia just starting to kind of mill back into the stadium after getting their treats during halftime. Got to be a little shocked at what's going on here. Miami very surgically moving down the field, picking apart, pounding some Edgerrin James in there, control passing game. Good drive by Miami to start the second half.
8th play of this drive to start the 3rd quarter. Covington. And off. James nowhere to run this time. Good downline pursuit for the guys in blue and yellow led by Thunder. John Thunder Thornton. You know, he started at nose tackle. They moved him down to defensive tackle.
Move here is John Thornton lined up. It's really kind of playing a defensive end. You see the West Virginia defense. In that 46 defense, all the guards and centers played. There are very few players that are the size of John Thornton, over 300 pounds, who can move laterally as well as he does.
Went from nose tackle, as I mentioned, a defensive tackle. Covington up and over. Oh, nearly a one-handed catch by the tight end, Franks. He pulled out a 9-yarder in nearly the same fashion 2 weeks ago against Florida State.
Daniel Franks, a big fella at 6'6". He's defended by 3 West Virginia Mountaineers. Can't get quite turned around. Spun the wrong way. Couldn't get back around and get his hands on it. Pretty decent throw by Scott Covington. Starting to maybe get a little noise here for West Virginia.
Volume has increased. Current drive has gone 9 plays for 70 yards. Covington blitz from both sides, throws it out. Moss, touchdown. Edgerrin James with the touchdown.
West Virginia came with a corner blitz. Scott Covington does a wonderful job of finding his outlet. West Virginia brings stills from the outside, and Edgerrin James left him unblocked. But watch number 84 on the right side of your screen. Clears the way for Edgerrin James to get inside. Great hustle downfield by Andre Kane.
Roslin, kick is up and good. There's Edgerrin James, 3 touchdowns on the day. I'll get him situated with Moss when we come back. Homecoming in Morgantown. You can see the emotion, the importance, Ed Cunningham, of this game. Butch Davis throwing the hair back a little bit. 3:17 off the clock. Miami takes that opening drive, 3rd quarter, and just marches 80 yards.
Even when they have a long drive, it's still only 3 minutes and 17 seconds, but you can see the tension on Butch Davis. Don Nealon feeling it as well. This Big East race wide open. You mentioned homecoming. What's the deal with homecoming in the Big East? Got a great game here in Morgantown. Last week, Temple upsets Virginia Tech. Boy, it's poison to play homecoming games in the Big East.
Short kick, Terry Porter. And Porter knocked down inside the 25 of the 24. So West Virginia will get their first offensive try here of the second half. And And what a first half for Mark Bolger. 20 of 28, 235, 3 touchdowns and the 1 pick.
And, you know, other than the pick and one other bad ball, he really only threw 2 bad balls. He threw 2 or 3 balls away. You know, a couple of balls that had to be perfect throws if they were going to be complete. He really played a great half. But if I'm Miami, Craig, I'm going to start blitzing Mark Bolger. They didn't blitz him really at all in the first half. I got to get him out of the pocket, make him run around a little bit.
West Virginia will start with a 4-receiver set. Zeraway on the pitch. Nice cut back inside. Breaks a tackle. Well, what was a 1-yard loss turns up to be a 5-yard gainer. For an update on Notre Dame and Army, let's take you back to New York City and Tim Brando. Tim.
All right, Craig, other than Temple and Virginia Tech last week, this could have been another great shot. But Army quarterback Johnny Goff was picked off by Johnny Sanders for Notre Dame. 12th straight win for the Irish over Army. Fellas, they're still alive in the BCS with that 1 loss earlier this year.
We'll get Notre Dame in a couple of weeks up in Boston. Boy, that's one of those. Johnny Goff wasn't even supposed to play today at quarterback for Army.
Wipe the eyebrow. Indeed, Zeraway to the 30. Webster and Michael Smith teamed up. All right, Eddie, put on the thinking cap. Our Aflac trivia question. Amos Zeraway is a Big East second all-time leading rusher. Who is number 1?
Zeraway's closing in on him, though, very quickly.
We'll give you a play to think about it. You know, you still just kind of, as you look at Zeraway today, you just are waiting for that breakaway.
Oh, it'll be there. He just needs that little seam and someone to miss a tackle who can take it.
3rd down 4. To the sideline. It's been bread and butter all day, but it's going to be short of the first down. David Saunders made the catch, but Nate Webster chased him down.
You know, I was really impressed when we spent time with David Saunders the other day talking about his future. You know, missed last year with the blown-out knee. He said, you know, I'm not even worried about what NFL scouts think. I'm going to go out and do my job. I'm going to play hard, and the rest will take care of itself. Too many young players get caught up in this, am I good enough to go? Forget about it. Go out and play, and what happens will happen. If you do your best, good things are going to happen.
Jay Taylor inside his 20. Good kick. Drives Reed back to the 10. And maybe 2 yards on a return. Tackled by Charles Fisher. 56-yard kick and a 2-yard return. Miami will have it when we come back. 24-all.
NASDAQ College Football on CBS is sponsored by Suzuki, Aflac, America Online, and by Fram Filters.
Oh, what a gorgeous fall afternoon. Morgantown. 24-all, homecoming day, 3rd quarter, 9:28 remaining. Miami took the ball downfield 80 yards that first time to start the 3rd quarter. They're back on offense. Guess who? James driven out at the 17. All right, we asked the question, our Aflac trivia question. Amos Zeraway is a Big East second all-time leading rusher. Who is number 1?
Terrell Willis of Rutgers. Kind of lost last week is that Rutgers beat Pittsburgh, a big win for them, but Mike Cloud nipping at the heels of Amos Zeraway. Cloud having a great year up at Boston College.
Saw him last week.
There's a look at that hair. Believe it or not, folks,
that looks good.
He got a haircut today.
That looks.
Last haircut he had was last year before Miami, and believe me, he cut quite a bit off.
So that looks much better than what we saw 2 months ago. Covington over the middle, and he hooks up Reggie Wayne. Bastine made the tackle. Covington doing a nice job, Ed, in the pocket. Good arm strength as he hooks up with Wayne. Turned out to be his probably favorite wide receiver of the day. 25-yard gain.
Yeah, West Virginia's tried to take Santana Moss out of the game, and they have. But let's not forget how good Reggie Wayne is. He's a Big East Rookie of the Year last year. He was 2nd team Big East, and he broke a pretty good player from Miami's freshman record. Michael Irvin's record he broke last year with 48 receptions.
Back on the ground, James stuffed at the 41. Barrett Green got a good hit along with Stills.
Miami Hurricane down on the field. Number 73, Joaquin Gonzalez, the redshirt freshman who was injured 2 weeks ago against Florida State, had his ankle rolled up. Looks to have a left elbow problem.
He walked on. And as we look at Joaquin Gonzalez, every Ivy League school wanted this big guy at 6'5", 285. Well, it's a quarterback matchup. You want to see the best in the AFC? Tomorrow, CBS. There's Bledsoe. We know that guy, Danny Marino. Tomorrow is the day on CBS.
Hey, don't forget my guy, Mark Brunell.
Brunell, Elway, still going strong. Tomorrow, 1 Eastern, Baltimore, Green Bay, Patriots and the Dolphins. The late games, Jacksonville and Denver, Cincinnati and Oakland, and Seattle and San Diego. Check your local listings.
Miami has put a lot of guys in the NFL very high in the draft. The most first-round picks since 1987, 19. You got to figure if you've got 4 more than Florida State, you've put some good players into the NFL. And when you look at Miami currently, some of the incredible skill players they have, Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss, some of these guys, you got to figure down the road they're going to start putting some more first-rounders in as well.
All right, now, Ed, you played at Washington. You got a Rose Bowl ring on that big finger. How does Washington rank in this first-round draft pick situation?
Well, we've had our share of first-rounders.
Can you elaborate?
But well, I wasn't one of them. I slipped all the way to the 3rd. I was projected middle first. No, but we've had our share. My senior year, we had 11 guys drafted. So, matter of fact, we shared the national title back in '91 with these guys, Miami.
Yeah. Second down and 9. Darryl Jones, the motion man for Miami, and flags are gone.
Miami only had 2 penalties on it in the first half, a little below their average. Average 12 a game.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, let's go downstairs. John Dockery, Miami coming from humidity and heat. They must like it up here, Doc.
Greg, it's amazing. You know, this is a beautiful fall evening here in West Virginia, and you wouldn't believe it. The Miami bench is now heated. They put on their heat machine. You can actually hear it blowing.
Yeah, you can.
Hear that? That's it. You can tell that from a warm fire. It's a magnificent day, and they have the heat on.
They got that thinned out plug, Doc, from being down in the heat.
Doc's always finding the things. They got the heater on down there. I tell you, this is shirt sleeve weather. Tompkins made the stop.
Good play by Miami. Just cut into it, cut down. Instead of having 3rd and 15, cut it into 3rd and 6, so you can kind of open that playbook up a little bit.
You look at the tight ends that Miami puts, and that's Daniel Franks and Mongrel Fulcher. All these guys are former wide receivers that have turned into tight ends. Not big size, but they all possess good speed.
Hey, is that the crowd I hear, Craig?
Finally. 7:22 and counting, 3rd quarter. Covington on the rollout. And coming back to help. Oh, what a diving catch, Reggie Wayne. And the crowd's going to boo, but that looked like a good catch. It's going to be just short of the first down. Maybe not. Nope, they're going to give him the first down for Reggie Wayne.
Rolling out, Scott Covington finding Reggie Wayne. He ran back to find him. Great job of Reggie Wayne getting his hands underneath the ball. That's what you have to do so the officials can see your hands. He cradles it. A nice job by Reggie Wayne. Scott Covington breaking contained, but Wayne makes the play. Not a great throw by Covington, but got those hands underneath to snag it.
6 receptions for Wayne, 80 yards on the day. Keeps the Hurricane drive alive. Gary Stills stuffed it up the middle. Good hit on Edgerrin James.
You know, when we talked with Steve Dunlap, the defensive coordinator of West Virginia, you know, he's had some great, what he calls rush linebackers. Canute Curtis comes to mind. Ronaldo Turnbull comes to mind. But he said of all of those, Gary Stills has the fastest first 2 steps of anybody he's ever coached. It's pretty good company when you talk about outside linebackers.
Well, he's been compared athletically to the play of Lawrence Taylor. He was in that time to put the pressure on, but Franks grabs it across the middle, inside the 25, down to the 22-yard line. Boy, Covington stayed in that pocket, heavy pressure, able to make the throw.
Tomorrow during film sessions, Scott Covington's going to have to go out of the locker room and get a soda for his man Edgerrin James, who comes over at the very last second to save him from getting hit in the back by Gary Stills. Nice heads-up play by Edgerrin James to allow Miami to get a big play. There's Daniel Franks, great tight end, had a great freshman year. Was second team all Big East as a tight end as a freshman.
Flags are down.
Well, he's got two of the quickest stops in football, but when Gary Stills jumps off sides, they're going to call it. All great pass rushes, Craig, guess the snap count. Gary Stills got caught guessing there.
Here's Jack Kramer.
Offside. Defense. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
Well, we know that Miami has great wideouts. Reggie Wayne, 8 catches. James with 3. Franks, Fulcher. Santana Moss, he's the speed guy. He's the burner. He's no catches in this football game.
Hey, Scott, start looking my way.
8th play of the drive. Covington fires and connects. Fulcher picks up another. The tight end does not play big factor in this Miami offense, but on this drive, he said Franks twice, Fulcher twice.
Well, Scott Covington's got 2 very good tight ends. We already talked about Mondreal Fulcher as an ex-wide receiver. Daniel Franks, one of the top tight ends in the Big East. And if you have those type of weapons, you might as well start using them. It really makes the defense stay honest, and it makes those linebackers respect the pass.
Second down, 3 from the 15. High formation Miami. Covington handoff. James skips off to the left side and down to the 13-yard line. It will be close to yet another Hurricane first down.
Boy, I'm very impressed with this Miami offense here in the second half. They are having their way against West Virginia. West Virginia has struggled all year against the run, but boy, Miami has really put on an offensive show in the second half.
Over 100 yards is Edgerrin James. 22 carries, 104. That's nearly 5 yards a carry with the 2 touchdowns.
Very little minus yardage plays for him today, though, Craig, and that's the key as a running back. Can't be going backwards. You have to always get positive yard, and he's fought for those extra yards a lot today.
Edgerrin James, one of the Doak Walker watch list nominees.
Boy, it's decision time right now for Butch Davis.
3rd and inches.
He's got a very good kicker in Andy Crossland. But, you know, we did the game 2 weeks ago against Florida State, and this does not surprise me one bit that Butch Davis will go for it on 4th down.
Making a statement to his young club in his 4th year as Butch Davis. 4th and short. 3rd down and short. 4:41 to go. Keeper Covington dives over the right side behind Wise and Damon Neely. Former center, you like that old quarterback keeper right off your right hip?
No, I used to hate it. Really. I mean, it's the hardest block as a center. You've got that ball in your hand, and you got to go straight forward. Very difficult for a center.
Covington in the huddle. 1st and 10. Miami from the West Virginia 12-yard line. 24 all homecoming in Morgantown. Big East battle today, and it could really sort out the picture in the Big East Conference race.
Covington fumbles his 2nd snap of the day. Him and Ty Wise having some trouble with the snap, but back to the Big East race. Wide open right now. Virginia Tech was in the lead, lost to Temple. West Virginia without a loss in the conference. Miami, all of those teams. And it always comes down to who wins between Syracuse, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Miami.
12th play, James on the pitch. Down the sideline, takes a shot, popped out of bounds at the 6-yard line. And we'll bring up 3rd down. And Barrett Green put the hammer on it along with Jerry Porter. What's it? James has worked hard, and we're just barely 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
You know, at 220 pounds, he can bring some wood with him, too. At the end of that play, Scooter Davis, little cornerback, came up. And let's just say James won that battle.
3rd down, 4. Ball on the 6-yard line of West Virginia. Crowd needs to find some fire. Edgerrin James alone back. Covington corner route. Has a man incomplete. He had Reggie Wayne. Scooter Davis on coverage.
Yeah, it looked like Scooter Davis. Jerry Porter comes up, a little gimpy, free safety. Looks like he'll be able to walk that off. But Scooter Davis, the cornerback, looked like he might have got away with a little bump there when the ball was in the air, but no flag, no foul.
Andy Crossland has it eyed. The left footer. This will be a 24-yard attempt. High snap, good hold, kick is away. And from 24 yards out, Andy Crossland puts Miami on top, 27-24. Miami leads West Virginia 27-24. Craig Bullerjack at Cunningham along back. What's going on? I think, has West Virginia forgotten this is their home turf? Miami has scored 10 points here to start this 3rd quarter.
Well, I know their fans have forgotten it's their home turf. I mean, the defense for West Virginia has been on the field the entire second half, and this crowd is just totally out of the game now.
27-24, and Miami will kick away. Antonio Brown. He can fly at the 20. Flags come out, and Brown is tripped up at the 33. But a flag is down inside the 25.
Boy, how things have changed here for Miami penalty-wise. They lead the Big East coming into this game, but it's West Virginia who continues to hurt themselves with penalties.
See Butch Davis take it back.
Oh, yeah.
Take it way back.
Illegal block in the back. Return team. 10-yard penalty. Spotted foul. First down.
That marches West Virginia deep into their own territory. They will start this drive at their own 11.
Take a look at the middle of your screen. Number 7 is David Carter, the guy who blocked the punt earlier, no question. Right in the middle of the back of number 41 of Miami. They're going to call that every time. But, you know, when you see a guy's numbers, when it's the back of his jersey, just lay off. You can't help the play.
Bulger play action to the sideline. Oh, what a great pass. It was the rainbow.
I'm sold, Craig. I am absolutely sold on Mark Bulger as a big-time college quarterback. This is a very tough throw over the head of Edward Reed. Again, not much pressure by Miami. They need to start getting some on him because a guy who can throw with that kind of accuracy, if you give him time, he'll pick you apart. But what a great throw by Mark Bulger.
Corey Ivy made it look easy. 1st and 10, Mountaineers at their own 33-yard line. Bulger the other way. Wide open, pitch and catch. Sean Foreman, so he goes Corey Ivy. Now goes Sean Foreman. Boy, Bulger, great sight. Just great field vision.
Yeah, and you brought up earlier that when he was being recruited, he's out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just an hour and a half up the road. He had his high school coach go to the University of Pittsburgh and say, hey, what do you think of my guy? And was flat told, this guy's not Division I material. Well, all they got to do is turn that film on up at Pittsburgh and realize they made a mistake on this guy.
Now those are Division I numbers, 21-29, 238 to 3 touchdowns, 1 pick on the day, 3:17 left 3rd quarter, and Bulger has West Virginia on the march. Great read up front by Miami. Zaraway looked to be wide open, and he was just chopped down by Nate Webster and Burrow.
The offensive line of West Virginia doesn't get a whole lot of credit.
And Eddie,
we're looking at Brian Pecanis, who is our NASDAQ scholar athlete, just above a 3.5 grade point average, and a very good player in his own right. He was all Big East last year at that right guard spot. The center of that West Virginia line, very tough, but Brian Pecanis, an excellent athlete as well as an excellent football player.
Movement up front. No flags. Bulger. Oh, right on the money. I'll tell you, that thread the needle. Ivy went up, made the catch. Impressive drive mounted here by West Virginia. Edward Reed, the strong safety, made the tackle.
Number 92 is Damian Lewis. Jumps into the neutral zone before the snap, but got that right hand down, kind of like Edgerrin James did earlier on his reception. But we've talked about Foreman, we've talked about Saunders, but Ivy has been poison to Miami all day.
1st and 10, 42-yard line. Zeraway skips over for big yards. Flags come down, and that West Virginia backfield holding the call. Was that against Pecanis?
You know, as the NASDAQ Scholar athlete,
Holding offense.
you know, as the NASDAQ Scholar athlete, you got to know, hey, he doesn't, right guard, number 61, Brian Pecanis. Inside move by the defensive end, Burrow. They caught, wow, okay. I'm going to bring that back. That's a little ticky-tacky. He didn't tackle. Look at the face. He's just smiling saying, yeah, right. Okay, I held on that play. It's going to rip him a little bit, but the penalties really starting to stack up on West Virginia. A flip-flop of what we expected coming into the game.
Well, Miami's just the opposite. They're averaging nearly 12 flags a game over 100 yards, and West Virginia guilty of the miscues. Clock is running, coming up on the 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Miami leading by 3. Boy, classic Big East battle today in Morgantown. Homecoming at West Virginia. Now Bulger, who was forced to do the same thing in the 1st quarter, calls a timeout with 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd, and will walk to the sideline to talk to his head coach, Don Nehlen. We'll come back after this.
I just sat in front of my locker room, all my equipment on for like 2 hours. My coach came in there, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I cried for a long time. He was just sitting there, just trying to make me feel better. You know, he was just telling me things, just keep my head up, you know, look for bigger and better things, you know, in the future. And we just stayed in the locker room, thinking about all of, you know, the things we went through since I've been in high school. That's gonna stick me for the rest of my life.
Miami leads West Virginia 27-24. That Mountaineer defense getting a bit of a break right now.
And they need it, Craig.
As Bulger has chewed some time off the clock on this offensive drive. 1st and 25 after the penalty. Bulger, down he goes. Boy, he pumped and then just had to eat the football. Damian Lewis, number 92.
You know, Miami has had some great defensive tackles in their spot. Damian Lewis has the ability to be in that list of elite players. Every now and then he'll take some plays off, but not that time. A good job getting up the field. Last year as a freshman, had a breakout year. Had 72 tackles as a freshman last year from that defensive tackle spot. But Bill Miller, the defensive coordinator, told us every now and then he'll take some plays off, and I got to keep after him.
2nd and 33. You got a play? Bulger's got one. Slam. Picks up 10 down to the 46-yard line. Foreman made the catch in traffic. Edward Reed and Mike Rumpf. You know, again, we go back and talking about Bulger, but you know, again, I was a little skeptical just on how fast he could get the ball, what type of release he had, but boy, you sold on him, and I'm sold.
Well, you know, a lot of people see that kind of 3-quarter, almost sidearm release of Bulger, and they say, well, you know, you're throwing. But if you look at a lot of the great quarterbacks over time at any level, it's just a quicker release to release it from the side of your arm instead of way over the top.
3rd down and 20. 4 wide receivers. Bolger up top. Caught and then dropped. Sean Foreman. I think he was surprised he actually had a chance at that football.
Well, he got away with one. There was definitely a push on this play by Sean Foreman. He's going against Marquise Fitzgerald, another freshman out there for Miami in the defensive backfield. But he shoves Fitzgerald down on the ground, couldn't get his hands back to catch it. Watch the top of your screen. This offensive line, they've been fighting all day. Ooh, play was not over. Solomon Page gets a little left hook in there.
Well, the All-Big East pick last year gets a little left hook, a little left chop in there. The punt is away. Fair catch at the 18-yard line. Well, get caught up on Around the League tomorrow. NFL Today presented by Southwest Airlines. Marcus will be there. Jimmy Nance, the coach George Seifert, and the great former 49er tight end Brent Jones. And keep watching the NASDAQ halftime report. Of course, our crew will keep you updated on all the scores and highlights on what will be another busy Sunday around the NFL.
A lot of fun for CBS to have the AFC, which has turned into the elite conference in the National Football League.
Edgerrin James held up, then slapped to the turf, picks up a couple. Barrett Green. We've called Barrett Green's number many times today. Final seconds tick off here in the 3rd quarter.
I just keep going with Edgerrin James. I mean, it's been working the entire second half. Just keep pounding it away.
Well, that ends the 3rd quarter here in Morgantown. A wild finish, we're sure. Miami leads by 3. We'll return after a word from your local station. I thought Halloween was a week from tonight.
That guy needs to start using some dental floss. That's a lot of black flack. Amazing statistic that Miami, one of the best finishing teams in all of college football, get to the 4th quarter with a lead and they'll win it.
Take the reverse. James tucks and runs on the hip. Big yards, and he breaks it up to the 37-yard line. Well, the Hurricanes able to put a 10 spot on the board in the 3rd quarter, and West Virginia moved the ball but unable to get in the end zone.
The only thing that Miami's been doing is they've been circling the defense. They're going to try to get a couple of down blocks, and they want to get a seal right out here. That is where the soft spot on the defense that Miami has found all day long. They fake the reverse just kind of to keep West Virginia on their toes, but nobody touches Edgerrin James till he's 15 yards down the field.
He will get votes for Big East Player of the Week. 25 carries, 130 yards, and a pair of touchdowns for Edgerrin James. Covington up and over, out of the reach.
Covington pass.
That was on Fisher. Let's go downstairs and get an update. Doc?
You know, it's interesting to see Charles Fisher run downtown with the receiver from Miami there, because all during the time out there he had cramps and he was trying to stretch to get him loose. Even out in the field you see it. So that time he ran pretty well, but it'll be interesting to watch to see how long Charles Fisher can go with cramps in his calves. Back to you.
And the thing about cramps is they don't go away until the game's over and you can rehydrate. So it will be very interesting to see if he starts locking up on West Virginia.
2nd down, 10, 36. James up the middle, breaks tackle after tackle, and is wrestled at the 45. Jerry Porter threw him down, and James just continues to roll up yardage. He's nearing 150 yards on the ground in this game. And let me ask you, we go back and talk about Charles Fisher. Cool afternoon. Is this something with artificial carpet that causes the cramps?
Could be any number of things. He maybe didn't pre-hydrate well enough yesterday, but Edgerrin James has had a great afternoon, and when Jerry Porter, the free safety of West Virginia, is the only one tackling, that's bad news for West Virginia.
Flag stopped the play.
You know, a lot of players, especially defensive backs, Greg, are so heavily muscled.
False start. Offense.
They're excuse me, they're so heavily muscled that they can lock up at any time. It could be 10 below 0 and they could catch cramps.
Fisher had the interception of Covington. First and 15, clock running, under 14 minutes left. Here in Morgantown, St. Anamos, the motion man. Covington in the pocket, swings it out. James, oh, what a tackle. Cut his legs right out. Barrett Green.
These are the types of play that West Virginia has to start making on defense. Miami has been moving up and down the field. They try to set up a little screen pass, and Barrett Green just outruns number 75, Damon Neely. Barrett Green was safety last year, 6'1", 215 pounds, now playing in the middle as a linebacker. You may not think he's big enough, but he's so quick he can run around some blocks, still get back and make the play.
Well, that's a strong safety turn linebacker, averaging 14 stops a game. Second and 17, Covington up top. Darrell Jones, the intended receiver, incomplete. He was guarded over there by Charles Fisher.
You know, you get the sense, Craig, that this game is going to start turning into one of field position. Miami's offense starting to slow down just a little bit. The West Virginia defense. This game's going to go back and forth and back and forth. Whoever's going to win that field position battle is going to end up winning this game.
Third down, 17. Look at the yards. First compared to second. West Virginia with 302. Down to 61 here. And the crowd playing a factor as Covington has to check off. And now calls timeout.
And I don't think the crowd realizes how much help they are when they get like that.
13:03 to go. Homecoming in Morgantown. Miami by 3. Well, this crowd of 60,000 has come alive, and a reason they know, Ed, that this defensive stand right here is so important for West Virginia. And Miami knows with the 3-2 record and the 1 loss in the Big East, this could really decide if they're in the chase for the Big East title or not. 2 wide receivers near side. Flags are down. Covington up top. Batted away. But a flag is down at the 44. Bastine on the coverage.
Flag was thrown on the sidelines. Could either be an illegal procedure or offsides. We may get another shot by Miami on third down.
Illegal formation. Offside. Decline. First down.
And listen to this crowd. They realize how important this turn of events is. Sending Miami out now to punt to their Mountaineers. But this crowd's been dormant the entire afternoon, starting to wake up because, trust me, Don Nehlen and his West Virginia Mountaineers, they need them for the rest of this game.
Boy, West Virginia unable to get players onto the field. Another flag comes down, and the punt bounces out at the 15.
Boy, what a mistake by the West Virginia sideline, not realizing that Miami had sent out their punt team and were trying to get the kickoff very quickly. West Virginia did not get their guys out on the field, and one of the players from West Virginia on the punt team was still in the backfield of Miami when the ball was snapped. Now the question is, the ball is down on the 15-yard line. If you're Miami, do you take the penalty and punt it again? I don't think so. You've got good field position. Decline it.
Jack Kramer will talk to Williams of Miami. There's Butch Davis. "37-yard punt." One official down at the 15.
Look at all these guys running out there, and here's the line of scrimmage. They're offsides during the kick. Hey, guys, you got to be heads up and see that Miami is ready to kick. But like I was saying, Butch Davis decides to decline the penalty, get it on the 15-yard line, back up West Virginia, and let's start playing some defense.
West Virginia will take over with 12:52 remaining in the fourth quarter. And while they huddle up, we'll take a break. Heading down the home stretch in Morgantown. Buckle up.
NASDAQ College Football on CBS is sponsored by First Union, Nasonex, Xerox, and by Sleep In.
Packed house in Morgantown, 12:52. Always time to say hello to Mom and Dad. There's a young man with an impressive afternoon, Mark Bulger. His Mountaineers trail by 3. Bulger in the pocket, swings it out. Beck is tied in. Fumble! Was he down? Oh, West Virginia dodges trouble. 5-yard pickup.
Dodging trouble, that's an understatement. You think this crowd's been a little quiet this afternoon? Imagine if that would have been a fumble. Anthony Beck, the tight end, just kind of the little blocks and then releases. A good job by Bulger. No one else was open. Oh, he did fumble that ball. Dan Morgan landed on his hip, and the right tackle, number 79, Tanner Russell, was able to pull it out from underneath him. A big break.
0-way. Second and third effort. He'll be close to the first down. Lawson, the left tackle, defensive tackle, made the tackle.
Boy, you got to figure Dan Morgan was laying there with that ball on his hip saying, oh, I can't get to it right now. Tanner Russell hustling downfield.
First down, West Virginia. How about Bulger? Hit 5 different receivers so far in this game, and that extends his streak of hitting 5 different wideouts to 16 games.
Just shows you the mastery he has of the offense, because he looks so many different places. Already today, we've seen him go to his first receiver, to his second receiver, to his third receiver. Just did it on the play before to Anthony Beck. He was his third read in that progression.
Mountaineers' 4th first down of this half. They had 15 in the first 2 quarters. Bulger rolls sidearms to the far side. The catch is pulled down. David Saunders with another reception. Michael Smith pushed him out. Stops the clock with 11:35 left here in the 4th. West Virginia trailing by 3.
You think David Saunders wants to win this game? Did not get to play against Miami last year because of his hurt knee. Back in '96, when Tremaine Mack blocked that punt for Miami to beat West Virginia here at Morgantown, the guy who missed Tremaine Mack on the blocking assignment was David Saunders.
You saw his receptions, 11 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Second down 3. Saunders in motion. Zeraway has a blocker down the sideline, lowers his helmet, and he just blasts his way down to the 47. Boy, he's just a powerhouse of strength at 5'10", 200. Lost the helmet again. Al Blades made the hit.
Well, look at the guns on that guy. I mean, this is a well put together athlete. But you know what? He needs to have his helmet put together a little better. This is about the 3rd time today that helmet's come off. He's got to check that chin strap. You don't need that little congregation of the referees over on Miami sideline, but you don't need that helmet flying around. I mean, this game's tough enough.
Unsportsmanlike. West Virginia and Miami.
The end of the play, Zeraway not happy about how he was treated near the sidelines by the Miami players. There comes the helmet. I don't see what went wrong there. Maybe you just want to tell the guy, hey, with or without my helmet, I can still play this game, but they called unsportsmanlike on both guys. Clean play. Maybe Amos just trying to get his guys a little fired up.
Well, it may have been a little trash talk, or Amos Zeraway, 23 carries, and they've been some tough yards, 91 yards. 11:27 left.
Yeah, Zeraway won't back down from anybody. When we met with him the other day, when Ohio State came to town, I said, well, what was it like playing against Andy Katzenmoyer, the great linebacker from Ohio State? He said, well, first of all, I congratulated him for passing his classes. Then later in the game, I made a good move and kind of shook him a little bit. I walked up and I said, hey, your ankle's okay? You need a trainer? Katzenmoyer very calm said, hey, look at the scoreboard. Of course, Ohio State was off.
1st and 10. Bulger rolls and fires. Up top he goes. Coming back for the ball is Foreman. Mike Rumpf, the freshman, actually had the position, but Foreman, the KG senior, came back and made the reception.
Little rollout by West Virginia, but two big guys. Rumpf goes 6'2", 195. Foreman 6'1", 205. It's a physical battle once that ball's up in the air. The one thing, remember, Rumpf is a true freshman. He's learning a lot today against these great receivers from West Virginia. One of the things he'll need to learn when you're guarding a guy like that, you have to find the ball. Foreman did find the ball and makes a spectacular catch.
32-yard pickup for West Virginia. 1st and 10 on the Hurricane 22-yard line. Mountaineers trail by 3. On the move here. They're just under 11 minutes left. Well, they fake the punt. They now reverse it. Zeraway dances down the sideline. It will depend on the mark. Looked like he may have stepped out of bounds. And they mark Zeraway at the 3-yard line. Delvin Brown chased him from behind.
You want to talk about a play fake? Usually it's a play. A play fake is usually fake the run and then throw it. Here, fake the throw and then run it. Zeraway ran to his left like he was in protection. They pulled 2 linemen out in front of him. What a fantastic play call by West Virginia. Dan Simrell, the offensive coordinator, pulls this one out of his hat. That's a fantastic play. Number 61 is Pecanis downfield. Number 79, Tanner Russell. Boy, those big guys are running.
Back to the ground. Zeraway. So low. Gravity. Just when you think you have him stop another yard or 2 to the 1-yard line. 2nd down goal. Sweeney, left side defensive tackle, made the stop.
Dan Simrell, the offensive coordinator of West Virginia. He's like a kid in a candy store. When we talked to him the other day, he's just so happy with all the weapons he has. And plus, he has a guy in Bolger who can run all those things, so they can try some different stuff at West Virginia.
Opportunity to go on top. A lot of time on that clock. Fullback dive. Touchdown, West Virginia. Anthony Green, 240-pounder. Bolger gets a hug from Nealon. Taylor will come in for the point after. And the kick is up and good. Taylor still perfect in PATs. 10:07 to go. The big guy Green coming right at you puts West Virginia on top.
The CBS star of college football today is sponsored by First Union.
Tim Brando and Craig James here in New York. A standout performance turned in by the Count, Monte Cristo of Nebraska. Imagine this. The senior walk-on from Kearney, Nebraska had not completed a pass coming into the season.
He didn't need to today either. Rally time, 2nd half. 67 rushing yards on the day, 2 career touchdowns on the ground, both against Missouri, both today. He comes in for Bobby Newcomb, who was inefficient. They have a place in Lincoln called O Street. He's the mayor of O Street tonight.
Thank you, Governor. Now back to the game.
Green has given West Virginia the lead here in Morgantown. 2:45 off the clock. Miami takes the ball. That's James Jackson inside the 10. And boy, I tell you, special teams feeling and fueling themselves off of this crowd.
You know, Tim Brando told us about Monte Cristo. There's been a lot of other heroes today. Sean King of Tulane playing for the other Bowden. Tommy having a great year. Don't forget, he's got that left wrist that's broken. And Ronnie Jenkins, wait a minute, 250 yards rushing for a guy from BYU. Tim, you've been around BYU a long time. Is that legal in the state of Utah?
No. I tell you, Ronnie Jenkins, great story. Suspended last year, one of the finest running backs in the West. You don't hear much about Ronnie Jenkins. This guy's the real deal. 31 carries, 255 touchdowns. It is rare. That should be passing yardage in the first half for BYU.
But how impressive is Sean King down at Tulane under Tommy Bowden's system? Has that broken wrist and has played extremely well with it.
Miami, after they sorted things out, will start this drive now after 36. Covington. Edgerrin James, and just missed tackles, flags are down, but James rumbles to the 42. Barrett Green knocked him down. Holding the call. And now a set of boos, cheers from this homecoming crowd.
How quickly it changes.
Holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Robert Hall, the left tackle, was the guilty party on that one. Got strung out a little bit, got the hands outside, but like you said, Craig, this crowd was gone for 3 quarters, and this team from West Virginia is fighting and scratching, and finally this crowd is starting to give some energy to this defense of West Virginia. They need all the help they can get against this Hurricane offense.
West Virginia susceptible to the run, giving up 231 yards a game. Santana Moss so quiet on the day in motion. Covington steps and fires on the slant, incomplete. And he wanted Santana Moss. Flags down again.
Late flags, though, Craig. We're starting to get a lot of stuff after the play, and these officials are trying to get control of it. They don't want this game getting out of hand. Actually, a late flag of pass interference against the defense. Sometimes those officials get those hankies stuck down in that pocket, and they can't quite get it out in time.
Pass interference. Defense. Spinal foul. First down.
Here's a look at Santana Moss. They're getting him in motion to try to free him up a little bit. West Virginia was faking a blitz, and Barrett Green gets there maybe just a tad early. But I tell you, that's an awfully close call, Craig.
It gives Miami a first down at their own 36. James turns the corner, bumped out at the 42. With Barrett Green on the chase.
Good job by Green fighting off the block of Mondriel Fulcher, the tight end, who pulled around. And his assignment was Barrett Green. Green using his hands very well to fight off that block and make the tackle.
Edgerrin James averaging on the season 14 carries, about 83 yards per contest. How about today? He's nearly double that. 27 touches, 153 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. And once again, James gets the call, barrels his way up to the 46. About a yard shy of the first down. Tompkins, the strong safety, put the helmet on James.
Boy, this West Virginia defense has had trouble all day slowing down Edgerrin James. 3rd and 1 allows you to open your playbook. Almost double his average. Coming into today, he had 83 yards on the year, but one of those downs, who knows what Butch Davis may pull here.
3rd and short from the eye. James chopped down. It was Thunder. John Thunder Thornton.
John Thornton has quietly had himself a heck of a game. Lined up over the left guard, Mercier. He pulls, and Thornton is just too quick. He is just too fast. Comes underneath the block of Robert Hall. Robert Hall does not have a chance. And look at this. Is Butch Davis sending a message or what?
4th down and 3. Covington slings it. Backfield. James sheds a blocker. 1st down and more. Gutty call by Butch Davis. Barrett Green made the tackle, but not before Edgerrin James picked up big yardage to the 41-yard line.
All good running backs use the stiff arm as much as possible. Edgerrin James, you've got number 45, Kyle Caden, out there in the coverage, but that stiff arm is what sprung him. If Caden could make that tackle, it would not have been a first down. A huge afternoon and evening for Edgerrin James.
214 yards total offense, under 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Miami driving. James has been the man off the left side to the 38. Landolt made the stop. Clock continues to run.
I really, really like the game called by offensive coordinator Larry Coker of Miami. They have not gone away from their game plan. Very obvious early on they wanted to take control of the line of scrimmage. Miami has done that throughout the entire game, especially in the second half, and has continued to pound James even though they're down 4 points.
And then remember, a field goal won't do you any good. Miami's down 4. They need a touchdown. Second and 8. Covington over the middle. Incomplete. He would like to have that ball back.
Oh, would he ever? He had his tight end, Daniel Franks, wide open down the middle. In most offenses, the tight end is called the Y receiver. And our college offensive coordinator used to say, hey, diddle, diddle, Y down the middle. Daniel Franks gets a clean release from the line of scrimmage and is wide open. Number 3, Perlo Bastine, had to turn and run, but that play was going for 6 if Covington would have completed it.
Crowd on their feet here in Morgantown, 7-11. Remaining fourth quarter, West Virginia holding on to a 4-point lead. Covington on a dart. Throws it into the turf. Incomplete, and now flags are down.
Charles Fisher can rant and rave all he wants, but he got there early on that play on Reggie Wayne. The officials right on top of it to make the call.
And you saw the reaction from Coach Nealon.
There is a lot of football left to be played here, Craig. What an incredible afternoon of football here in Morgantown. And it's almost like it's just getting exciting for this crowd.
Once again, Jack Kramer.
Pass interference. Defense. Spot on foul. First down.
Well, the fire still burns in Don Nealon for sure.
Nealon's claiming that it was an uncatchable ball. Just a little stop route right through it. The ball was uncatchable, but Charles Fisher went right through Reggie Wayne. Again, rant and rave all you want, Charles, but you got there just a tad early.
First and 10 from West Virginia's 30. Covington hooks up. He wanted Franks. He got him this time. A pickup of 5 to the 25. Clock now under 7 minutes. Kyle Caden in on the tackle.
Always been a fan of incorporating the tight end into your passing offense. It just makes the defense honest. It adds another guy into the route mix. You can leave it in a block. You can roll them out. You can have them on rollout passes, run with the quarterback. It just keeps that defense honest.
You know, we won't argue with you. Brent Jones,
exactly.
Part of our NFL Today crew. Well, he made a great living with the 49ers, with Montana and Young. James Jackson, some fresh legs for Miami, up to the 20-yard line. Tompkins and Green made the tackle. Looks to be just short of the first down.
If they are short of the first down, which it appears that they are, do not be surprised if Butch Davis, we've done 2 of his games this year, he never surprises me. Don't be surprised if he told Larry Coker, let's take a shot into the end zone.
Keeper Covington. It will depend on the spot. And the officials will call timeout with 5:44 remaining. 31-27. West Virginia over Miami in a key Big East battle.
Butch Davis runs down to take a look to see if they got enough for the fourth down to make it, for the third down to make it first down.
Half a football short.
But you know that the thing is, like you said, the field goal doesn't do you much here. They are short. They don't have the first down. Field goal does not do you a whole lot right now.
4th down inches.
You think this crowd's going to get into it now, Craig?
Butch Davis, 4 years at Miami rebuilding. They've lost 31 scholarships to NCAA sanctions. Miami on the season 3 of 6 today, 1 of 1 on 4th down conversions.
None of those have been this big, though, Craig.
Keeper by Covington.
Depends on the spot. The official coming from the near side gave them a favorable spot.
Butch Davis walks over to make sure
he is right down
gets
there
the spot,
arguing for everything he can get. Oh, he is not happy with the spot either.
They will bring the chains out again.
From Butch Davis's reaction, who's right down on it, doesn't look like they got it.
You know, you made an interesting point. I saw the near side
looked like
line
he
judge was over the line.
The 20, yeah.
And the other official came over and marked it to the outside of the 20-yard line. I think they didn't make it. We're talking an inch. Two quarterback keepers by Covington, and West Virginia's front line, Eddie, stands up and refuses to bend.
Butch Davis put it in the hands of his offensive line, but look at all the blue shirts get across the line of scrimmage, get great penetration, and stop the forward movement of Scott Covington. Very tough for those officials to even. I always wonder, how do they even know where to spot that ball? They got the spot down, though, and boy, West Virginia dodges a bullet on that one.
Still, though, a lot of time on that clock. 5:37. West Virginia holding on to a 4-point lead. Zaraway breaks one, breaks another to the 25. 5-yard gain. Al Blades made the tackle.
Zaraway could have cut that ball outside for more yardage, but very wisely cut it inside. Stay in the playing field. You don't want that clock stopping. Start to get it turning. But 5 minutes left in this game, Craig. There again. There's still a ton of football left.
And West Virginia will take their time. Play clock ticking away. 13, 12, 11. Bulger walks up to the line under center. Zaraway. He's going to lose at least 2 back to the 22. Damian Lewis, the sophomore, gives Miami life.
Earlier in the game, Miami had success getting penetration in the middle of the offensive line. There, Damian Lewis fights off the center, Eric DeGrow. Randy Dunnigan, the left guard, could not get him scoop blocked, and Damian Lewis, very explosive at the point of attack. That's one thing he does very well, is get up the field.
And remember, this front line of Miami had very young. Hips is a sophomore, Sweeney a junior, Lewis a sophomore, Derek Ham, the only senior up front. Play action. Bulger down.
And what did Miami come with, Craig? They came with a strong safety blitz. Miami has not blitzed all day long. They've been playing zone coverage, but when it came down to the time of the game that they needed to make a play, they bring Edward Reed from the outside. He is totally unblocked. Bulger doesn't have a choice. Look at all the white shirts around him. Nate Webster comes on a blitz. Finally, Miami goes to a blitz, and it pays off big.
Jay Taylor will need a big punt for West Virginia. Nick Ward back to receive for Miami. Taylor with the kick. Takes a bounce at the 45 and out of bounds near midfield. Oh, hold on. 3:15 remaining, and Miami will have the football when we come back. West Virginia by 4.
Good evening. It's time for the live lottery drawings for Saturday, October 24th, 1998. First, the daily number. Draw the first digit, please. 0. the second digit. 9 and the third digit. 6. Tonight's witness is Eleanor Harper. And now, Big 4, draw the first digit, please. 4, the second digit. 5, the third digit. 7 and the fourth digit. 3. Now it's time for Cash 5. Select 5 numbers from 1 to 39, please. 26. 1. 38. 37. And 10. And now let's play the all-new Super 6 Lotto. Please select 6 winning numbers from 1 to 69. 68, 30, 7, 51, 60, and 43. And now, taped moments ago, the $1 Million Spin. 10 finalists were selected from claimed instant free tickets, and one of them is about to win a prize from $50,000 up to $1 million. Lottery proceeds benefit older Pennsylvanians. The prize amount determined by the green ball is $100,000. And tonight's lucky winner determined by the black ball is Peg Ganowski of Scranton. The other 9 finalists will each receive $5,000. Here again are tonight's winning numbers from the Pennsylvania Lottery.
You know, Craig, this is one of the hardest times as a coach, is you want some time to run off this clock. There's 2 minutes left, but you also have to keep some rhythm for your offense. You've got to be able to score, but you want to eat some time. It's just a very tough spot for a coach to be in. You don't want West Virginia to get this ball back with much time left.
Under 2 minutes, second down goal from the 3. Covington fires and tosses it out of the end zone. That stops the clock. 1:42 remaining, and that will bring up a third down.
Good decision by Scott Covington. They run the play action pass. West Virginia not fooled on the play. They had all the backs and receivers covered out of the backfield. Covington just gets rid of it, come back for the third down.
Crowd again on their feet. West Virginia held the last time Miami tried to make a push to the end zone. Covington. Touchdown, Miami. Darryl Jones.
Let's give credit where credit is due. The offensive line of Miami has risen up today and done a great job. West Virginia comes on an all-out blitz, gives Covington plenty of time. Little slant pattern. Number 23, Scooter Davis playing off of Darryl Jones. Jones wide open for the touchdown, but a good job by the offensive line of Miami.
First touchdown of the season for Darryl Jones, and the extra point is up and good. CBS Sports coverage of NASDAQ College Football will continue in just a moment. Miami in a seesaw battle, taking a 34-31 lead over West Virginia.
Once again, it was the protection of the offensive line. Kyle Caden on the blitz. Barrett Green on the blitz. Gave the time for Scott Covington to find Darryl Jones, and once again quiet this crowd down.
No return for West Virginia, so the Mountaineers will take over on their 20 with 1:37 remaining, and the Hurricanes struck in a hurry. 1:38 off the clock, 5 plays, 48 yards. And make sure you stay tuned to CBS tonight, early edition, followed by Martial Law, Sammo Hung, and Walker, Texas Ranger. That's tonight on CBS.
May have to push that back because we may have overtime staring us in the face. West Virginia only has to get in field goal range. Jay Taylor, although he's nursing a hip flexor injury, has a very strong leg.
Bulger from the shotgun. Big numbers on the dough. Stands up, sidearms, hits Zeraway. To the 29. Mike Rumpf, the freshman, made the tackle. As Pat Green, who pulled it down, his first catch of the day. Say Bulger now 29 of 38. Over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shotgun again over the middle, complete. It's hurry-up offense for West Virginia. Webster made the stop.
Clock stops.
Made the catch.
Clock stops with the first down. David Saunders was only open for a brief second. If you want to question the arm strength of Mark Bulger and how quick he gets rid of it, just look at that throw there.
34-31 Miami, under a minute to go. And Morgantown. And a huge play by Miami's front. Derek Ham. He's the sack man.
West Virginia very wisely takes a timeout. It would have taken forever to reset the play. Derek Ham, 5th in the country in sacks, gets around Solomon Page, the Aug Big East tackle. Ham collects his 6th sack of the season. Bulger very wisely, though, burns one of their timeouts. You had to get out of it there.
Miami with 2. West Virginia with 1 timeout. With 52 ticks left on this 4th quarter clock.
Boy, how calm does Mark Bulger look? Everything is under control. He knew as soon as he was sacked, I've got to get a timeout. It's going to take forever for my receivers to get back to the line of scrimmage. He just looks calm. It's like he's out at practice right now.
360 yards, 30 of 39. Miami won here, as you know, in 1996. They called it a miracle on the mountain. In fact, West Virginia has lost 3 of the last 4 in this series.
10-3 Miami lifetime against West Virginia. Butch Davis is 2-1 as the head coach at Miami against West Virginia. He's got to be so proud of his guys. Such a young team Butch Davis has. There's only 11 seniors on the entire team. He's got to be so proud of how his guys have come in. A tough place to play in Morgantown, West Virginia. They've played hard, aggressive football all day.
Butch Davis, the starting offense and defense, would find 12 freshmen and sophomore when the day started. 2nd down, 16 from the 32 shotgun. Bulger again in trouble. Sacked.
Make that number 7 for Derek Ham. Derek Ham moving up those charts. Solomon Page considered one of the best tackles in the Big East. Bulger goes to step up. Derek Ham does not stop his rush. That is key to a good defensive end. Don't stop your rush. Even when you're blocked, continue to move, because when that quarterback is flushed out of the pocket, he may just fall right in your lap like Bulger did there for Ham.
3rd and 19. Bulger on the sideline. Ed, put it in simple terminology.
Well, you got to think this is almost everything for West Virginia. Remember, earlier in the game, we talked about West Virginia's meltdown in the second half of the last 3 years. They've got a tough road to hoe. Miami at Virginia Tech is their next game on Halloween night. Then they go into Syracuse, Rutgers, BC, and Pittsburgh. But you got to figure Virginia Tech and Syracuse, 2 very good running teams, will look at this tape and say, hey, Miami went up and down the field with these guys. West Virginia's got to answer some questions on the defensive side of the ball.
Now still ahead, a tough 2-week schedule. If this score would hold, West Virginia 1-1 in Big East play, and for Miami, how big on the road as Butch Davis continues to rebuild his Hurricanes. They would jump to 2-1 in Big East play.
And a lot of improvement. You know, we did their game 2 weeks ago against Florida State. The effort was there, but they didn't make the plays to win. Today, they've made those plays.
3rd down, 19. Bulger up top, sideline. There's a bump, and the crowd wants flags, and a flag is on the turf at the 44. Bulger was picking on Marquise Fitzgerald, and that stops the clock with 36 seconds remaining.
You know, you always want the players to decide. Butch Davis saying it's an uncatchable ball. You always want the players to decide the outcome, especially of great games like this. Marquise Fitzgerald bumping all the way down the field. Actually knocks the receiver out of his stride. In college football, you're allowed to bump the receiver before the ball goes in the air. As soon as the ball is released from the quarterback, no more contact is allowed. Fitzgerald just had contact a little too late on that play.
No timeouts remain for West Virginia. A field goal would force overtime. And there is Jay Taylor.
Ball is at the 44.
He has a career long of 52 yards, so they have to get down around the 30, inside the 35-yard line to feel comfortable with Taylor kicking a field goal.
Shotgun. Bulger steps. Dumps it underneath. That's the speedster. Zerilway to the 42.
Very important. He got enough yardage for the first down. It stops the clock.
28 seconds. The officials place the ball at the 42 of Miami.
If I'm Don Nehlen, I need 10 more yards out of my offense before I feel comfortable with Taylor kicking a field goal.
Clock restarts, 24 ticks. Underneath again, Zerilway. Falls to the 35. Dan Morgan. And Bulger needs to get to the line in a hurry and throw this one on the turf. Stops the clock with 7 seconds.
Ooh, boy.
7 seconds. Now you take a chance. You're 36 yards from the end zone. A long pass may burn the 7. You may not get a chance for a field goal try.
You are at 53 yards right now for Jay Taylor. His career long is 52. This is decision time for Don Nehlen and his coaching staff. I would want 3 or 4 more yards, but you're in that gray area, Craig, where if you don't complete the pass and get out of bounds, game over.
Would you throw the quick out? How about 5 yards?
I don't like risking it. I think Jay Taylor, although he has struggled, remember, he has a hip flexor injury on his kicking leg, missed the Temple game. His health also may be a factor in this, Craig.
You see the calmness in the eyes of Mark Bulger. Taylor awaits, and of course no one, and Eddie, you know this in your years of college and professional football, you just stay away from that guy right there. Make sure you stay tuned to CBS. Early Edition is on its way, followed by Martial Law and Walker, Texas Ranger. Fun Night at Television coming up on CBS.
You know, Craig, you talked about a kicker wanting to be left alone. I asked one of our kickers one time in college, I said, you know, you guys take a lot of flack for being a little different. Why are you so different? He said, you know, Ed, we go through the whole game. Nobody bothers us. Nobody says a word. And all of a sudden, there's 7 seconds left. We're down by 3, and some 300-pound lineman grabs you by the shirt and says, hey, don't mess this up for the rest of us.
Like one of, that's Miami's big number 98.
He'd like to get a hold of Jay Taylor.
7 seconds here in Morgantown. Homecoming.
The only thing you have time for is a very quick out near the sideline or the fade route out towards the sideline. The ball either has to be incomplete or right out of bounds.
Tough call by Don Nehlen. Play action to the sideline. It is leaning on the line. No. Incomplete with 3 seconds remaining. Boy, Saunders trying to glue those feet down. Incomplete.
Throw just a little bit outside. Saunders. Oh, Craig. That right foot looked like it might have been in bounds. Very difficult call by the officials, and here comes Jay Taylor.
Jay Taylor, 3 seconds. They will spot this football at the 43, a 53-yard attempt.
It would be a career long.
Good snap. The kick is up. Just missed it. And Miami wins on the road in Morgantown.
The last 2 times these teams have met in Morgantown, West Virginia, have been decided by the kicking game. 96, Tremaine Mack blocks a punt on the final play of the game. Jay Taylor gets plenty of leg into this ball. He just gets a little too much hook on it. He knows he hits the ball well enough. The question is, did I hook it too much? And then he has his answer.
Miami celebrating in Morgantown. Their Big East title hopes are alive. So for Ed Cunningham and John Dockery, this is Craig Bullerjack as we say so long from Mountaineer Field with a final score in a thriller. Miami 34, West Virginia 31. This has been a presentation of CBS.